All right.
I'm about to hop on it soon. I gotta take care of these orders.
How everything going for y'all, Mark?
We trying to make something out of that, man. Just
all right.
Waiting on the powers that be. Go ahead and give it that go ahead.
Oh yeah, y'all got to wait for that.
Yeah.
So we anticipating this week.
Huh?
I said we're anticipating on this week. We done got pretty much all the yays that we've been waiting on.
What, the stars going outside and stuff?
Nah, it ain't gonna be that. It's gonna be small groups inside.
Oh, small groups
go
at a
outside
time.
till September. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's some good news.
Yeah.
I think Alex Frazier about to join.
The GOAT.
On too. All right. So basically, how it's gonna go, man. All the bandwidths, y'all can have the floor, man. You know, whatever y'all want to talk about, y'all can have a discussion about. I'm pretty much gonna be the middleman. So whatever y'all want to talk about, get off y'all chest. Tonight is the night.
Go ahead and get some more in here.
Yeah.
Me and Frazier do this every day.
Yeah, Alex about to come in right now. Him and Trent about to come in.
Who?
Trent. Yeah.
Boy, y'all got Trent on? Oh, Lord.
Nah, Lil Trent.
Oh.
Not the Trent, but Lil Trent.
Yeah, Alex should be coming in a minute. We got Mark Wayne about to hop on.
Yes, sir, Mr. BU.
Hey, y'all can hear me?
Yes,
what's going on, man?
Mr. Trail City Garden.
Hey, Trail Country.
Trail. I thought it was Trail County, but it's Trail Country.
Yeah, country. Let me tell you about this country.
That's country, hell yeah.
All right, we got Alex hopping in.
Mark, hey, what's going on?
What's going on, man?
Nothing much.
Yeah, that man. Staying safe, huh?
What's up? The GOAT.
What's going on?
You got the band pass.
Too much.
The GOAT. And hey, y'all got Port Arthur in here deep tonight. Y'all better not cut up. They gonna be with that bull crap.
Man, look, it ain't but two of us. We ain't
look, I may not live in Port Arthur no more. I'm in Beaumont now, but I'm always from Port Arthur. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear that. Brock, man, what's going on?
What up with it, bro?
Hold on, man.
How everybody doing?
Rock.
What up with it, Mr. Frazier? How you doing, man?
How you doing? Oh man, I cannot complain. How you making?
Man, same here. Complaining won't make no better. So
that's it.
So
that's exactly right.
What's up, bro?
What up with it, bro?
Ain't nothing, man.
You good, man?
Who? Shit, yeah, I'm good. I've been in Jackson, Mississippi 2 days. I'm happy. I got out of town.
So you been in the country?
Jackson, Mississippi.
Yes, country.
That bitch ragged.
All in feet. All right, y'all. So this basically how it's gonna go, man. Pretty much, y'all can say whatever y'all want to say, whatever you know is on y'all mind about the band world. Y'all can talk about. Me and Ricky, we just gonna be the middleman, you know. So that's basically.
I'm just here to speculate. I don't want nobody saying that. Look,
middleman space. Dang, bro.
Nah, he said it right. Ricky gonna speculate all night.
You already know.
Hey, listen. I ain't got nothing to say. Shit. Judgment Day tomorrow look like from the internet.
All right.
Oh, man.
All right.
Here you go, y'all.
All right. See, I'm not going to speak on that.
Straight up.
I'm gonna eat my cake. That's what I'm gonna do.
I don't think it's a judgment night, but I don't believe that, you know.
I'm gonna tell you this here. Some shit gonna get exposed that one ain't supposed to be exposed.
I guess we'll find out.
There you go, Bart.
That man, I'm sick of this shit. I can't take it no more. Man.
Can't breathe in this thing. Can't see in this thing. Can't do nothing in this thing.
I'm sick of this shit.
I guess folks trying to find. I guess it's gonna be that real. Who is that Negro on that land tomorrow, huh?
Man, what y'all talking about?
Man.
Man, nothing.
For real. Hey, say for real though.
Obviously, I don't know.
Hey, Mark, bro.
Yeah.
Mark, all I'm gonna say is just tune in, man. Just tune in, bro. That's all.
Hey,
just tune in.
I'm gonna say it like this. I don't think it should have took. I don't think it should have took this long.
Tim, what's up, man? Tim, cut your.
What's up, yeah?
What's up, man?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Alto
Man.
band director Tim.
Where he at?
He in the chat.
God damn, how many people you got?
I told you, man.
Tim.
I got like over
What's up, Tim?
What's up, Ricky? Mr.
Tim
E.
got that
Become your homeboy, Mark.
Wi-Fi. East Texas Wi-Fi.
Nah, man, I'm
Tim.
just chilling now. What's up?
Tim.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, that's the Trent.
Maybe
I can't
that's
where Tim went.
maybe that's that Louisiana Wi-Fi.
Cut your camera on.
Whoa. Not too much on Louisiana.
No, motherfucker. You back up there deets.
What's up, y'all?
There we go. What's up, man?
Louisiana Wi-Fi.
I can't see Tim.
There he is. There he is.
There you go.
Ricky, boy,
He
you blind,
finally
man.
came back to Houston. He got out there out East Texas Wi-Fi. He had to go climb up that Sabine River and get a connection. What up, man?
That's where you ain't gonna get one at.
Hey Tim, how far are you from Nacogdoches?
About 20 minutes.
All right.
Boy, at all.
Cool. Who else on here?
The Trent.
I got
Tell him
Alex.
turn his mic on.
I see Alex. I see Brock. I see Mark. I see Trent. I see Mark Ward. Man, fuck that. We about to get real. Who got the best high school band in Texas right now?
Wow.
Fuck
Well,
this shit.
I guess Ricky's starting it off, man.
Kobe got it.
I guess he's starting it off, then.
I think
depends
Kobe
on
was
what
kind of running the game for everything right now.
Nah, we ain't talking about COVID. Well,
I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this.
I agree with you on that. Kobe running everything right now.
Nah, forget that. I'll tell you this.
Who talking?
This is Mark Wayne
Okay.
Martin the second. I'll tell you this. We got the only band in Texas right now is concerned because we the only one been with band camp for 5 weeks. So get on.
No,
that.
you ain't. No, you ain't. Tim been practicing.
Not for 5 weeks.
Tim been practicing.
Not for 5 weeks.
Hey, a lit hummingbird from Port Arthur said they don't need to practice number 2 weeks to catch up with everybody.
That may be true.
Yeah, Ricky, you just came out the gate with the mess, huh?
You see him, huh? He's starting off with it.
They act like they quiet.
Ricky, bro, you supposed to be Ricky, man. You supposed to be chilling, man.
Damn. Then y'all
I'm
got
trying to
Tim
make
over
it in
there
the
at
heaven.
Alto. Tim over there at Alto. Y'all. Tim said y'all sleeping on him. He gonna come through there with that sound wave this year. He say, Brock, before you say anything about East or North Texas, you got to come through Alto.
Yeah, we're gonna have to listen to Jumpstart one more time.
Brock, man. I know
By
you
who?
say, Brock.
I ain't gonna look at it. It's on YouTube. You know what to find.
Yeah, 1,000,000 times.
Hey, listen. Y'all bullshitting.
Warden, turn this camera off.
Look, y'all sleeping on Tim. Hey, Tim.
That's why I'm in their mouth. They ain't sleeping on shit. That's why I'm in their mouth.
Hey, listen.
Tim got a good band.
Hey, listen, Tim had some L's out, bro. Y'all better quit sleeping on Alto.
Oh nah, Tim got a real good band. We get real good band. See, because when you're smart, you understand your enemy. You understand what I'm saying? When you
There you go to
elite,
preaching.
when you're elite, there you go. When you're elite, you gotta pay attention to Tim and Frazier and all this other stuff. Because if you don't know your enemy, the art of war say you already lost.
Hey, so I got a question for all y'all band directors. Who's the top
Nobody
3
said
bands?
nobody school name but Mark. So
Hey,
who
listen.
people say
Give me.
these folks in
Hey,
their
listen.
mouth?
Hey, listen.
That's what I
I
wanna
need to. Hey, listen. I need to get an order of bands. LaTrent, you can't say nothing, and D, you can't say nothing. Who's the top 3? Southern, Prairie View, or Texas Southern? Name them.
Why does that matter?
Hey, we having conversation, man. Now
Why
look,
does that even matter?
it do.
Hey, look,
I mean,
check this out.
you posed a question, I posed one. Why?
Right now, I got it, bro. I got it. I'm gonna go out there. Let me tell you something. I'm from Texas Southern. Frazier from Southern. Tim from PV. If we all, Brock from Texas Southern. If we all don't say that our band is number 1 and the other 2 don't matter, I don't know what's wrong with your brain. So
Hey, guess what?
Like,
Hey, guess what? Hey, that's why. Hey, look, you know why I asked that question, Mark? You know why I asked that question, Brock? Because I like how Mark get them political questions like a pastor. If it's not correct, you got to say your school, and that is wrong with you.
Yeah.
That's why Mark is Mark.
Nah, man. On a serious note, man.
Hey, let me say this. Let me say this though to that first question you posed, best band in Texas. You'll never hear me answer that question. You'll probably never hear me say my band, because for me, that's not a battle for me to fight.
Yeah.
My
I'm just
battle is
picking at
put my
y'all.
best product on the field. And if
Right.
somebody feel like it's up there, great, I'm ecstatic about it. But that's
Right.
wasting time and effort.
You know you're doing something right.
Man,
when other people say it for you.
But I do want to say this, and I can say this about everybody on here right now. If you want to talk about some fun bands to battle against that will
All of
battle
them.
and go
All
back and forth. I mean, everybody on here, I done went back and forth with. Me and Mark done had 2 great years of battles, and this is after being in the same district for like 8 years. We done had two really. That
I was
first
gonna say,
year
y'all
was
play
like
football
really
against
fun.
each other.
Yeah,
Y'all
first
is
year was really
raw.
fun. Tim then came down to Port Arthur and put on and lit the gym up, and we done had a great time in the gym. We got
Shout out
this
to
battle
Carter,
that
man.
we had. How this battle that we had in Royal is not on YouTube. I don't know. I don't know if
Oh
Tim remember
man,
that.
I ain't gonna lie, we had fun that time.
It's a battle that happened between us that had to be almost an hour long, and I ain't never seen it on video. Yeah, I can
Before
see
the
When
Battle
was
of
it,
the
Alex?
Bands.
right.
When was it?
This was maybe
2 years ago, something like that.
Yeah. And it's the thing. This was, like you said, this is before the Battle of the Bands, and it was cold. And I remember we got to a point, man, me and Trent was like, man, we not gonna have no lips for this field show. Like, we were going back, and they some kind of way they set us right next to each other. And
That's because Tommy was in front of y'all.
Yeah, man, we had,
Yeah.
an awesome time. We lit the gym up. We had the kids from PV was in there going crazy. Then Brock came to our event this year, and man, what he been able to do in 1 year at Carter is impressive. And it's not just the sound that he putting out with that size band, but
Culture.
and shout out to Chris too, because Chris is my boy. But to see the excitement in them kids' eyes in that 1 year, I know that look. I can remember when we were getting that look. This was probably like 8 years ago. When you got kids that didn't bought in. I could see that. So you and Bird are doing a great job. But all of these dudes will battle. Like that's what I do love about the people that's on here right now. They're not gonna give we don't know if we want to get in. Keep it fun, man, for the kids. If we're gonna battle, let's do it. Let's open it up, have a good time. So that first question, that's never gonna be for me to ask Ricky, but or for me to answer, I'm gonna say. But I will say, man, I respect anybody who taking the time to really try and sow into these kids' lives. and letting them be able to, get out there and really compete. Because that's what it's all about. You're gonna get iron always gonna sharpen iron.
Right. I appreciate that, Mr. Frazier, man. I just asked you to pray that we can do it better.
Man,
that's what
always get better with time, man. It'll build itself.
I done battled with everybody band on this thing. I remember Tim, you might not remember this. When Ozan, man, y'all had like 1,000 people in y'all band, and Ozan, we had like 20 or 30, and we my kids was like, man, that's alto over there. And I say, hey man, look, I don't think we ready for alto. He's like, Miss Martin, forget them, man. We gonna play on them. I say, all right, well, let's go. And man, I think we had like
at Prairie View, huh?
Yeah, at Prairie View, man. We had like 3 rounds. Yeah. And man,
hey, man, you want me to tell y'all something crazy though? Y'all say battle. Y'all know how I met Tim?
Oh, we gonna put how? I don't even remember.
You want me to tell you? Hey, you want me to tell y'all how I met Tim?
Do we really want to know?
Yeah. Mardi Gras, 2013. He was at Worthy. 2013. Listen, man, Trent, I'm messy, but sometimes I be in my own little world, Trent. We get off at the grocery store on the seawall. You got Worthy, you got Yates. It was somebody else. I think Westbury back there. And all of a sudden, I send our kids to the bathroom. Here come this little short guy, line his band up and warming up. So you know me, Trent. I'm finna warm up. I warmed up and down. Man, I ain't finna play this parade. I look at the map, the parade. I'm thinking it's like a Baton Rouge parade. Shit, that bit go down through the town, through the dark Ghostville, back uptown, around St. Charles again. It's his band, it's us, then his band. I actually started walking with Washington Marion and was walking with them, talking to him the whole parade route. Man, we end up battling like head to head. And we face to face like this. Jackie Yates tried to get the mix. I end up battling him and Jackie Yates that night. But the victoria was me. And he had old boy on trumpet. What's his name? Jigga Roberts was trumpet player. He know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, Tay.
Hey, what happened to the other little red trumpet player you had, Tim?
He live in Houston.
Oh, he live in Houston? And man, bro, I'm gonna tell y'all something. Tim had a small band, but he had a great product over there. After him, Worthy never had nothing else come through it.
Man, shout out to Everson Martin and Aaron.
Oh yeah,
he just joined in. How y'all doing?
What's up with y'all boys, man? What's up with y'all, man?
Lord, y'all got
Got Black Swarm in the building.
Lucas Brand.
What's up, man? I'm on here, man. I'm tuning into y'all boys, man. I'm checking it out, man. There's some good stuff that y'all doing, man. Real talk, man. Nothing but love coming from my way.
Hey, what's up, Everson? How you doing?
Appreciate that, man.
I like Ev on the trap phone.
Man, you gotta realize Ev.
I want to be respectful. It's Dr. Everson now, right?
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Come on. Trent, I'm sorry, y'all. Dr. Everson of Alcorn State University. How's it going back there in Lawrence?
Man, it's going, bro. We trying to make it, man. Trying to figure out this thing with the pandemic, man, and how we gonna do band and stuff. But it's coming along slow, but we making it, man.
Yeah, man.
Y'all know Ev, but Carl Collins a lawman, man. You know, Ev go anywhere along, man. He get everything he wants anytime he wants for free.
Shit, all you gotta do is speak.
Let me tell you a funny story about Ev. And Ev, you might not even remember this. When I was a crab in 2005, this was probably October, November. Everson came on camping, and he see me. He say, "You S5?" I shook my head. No, sir, not yet. He took off walking. Didn't say nothing else to me. He saw me the next year. He said, "You S5?" I say, "Yeah." Then he started talking to me. I say, "Oh, okay." You might not even remember that story.
Man, I actually do, Big Mo. I actually do, man. You know, I'm from a different era, man. You know, you had to get them letters back then, man.
Yeah.
Boy, got
I
them
saw
letters.
somebody had a question.
Somebody got a question. They want to know y'all top 5 high school bands in Texas.
They gonna keep asking that question.
Right.
Yeah.
We had
That's
already,
tough.
Mr. Frazier already bust that down already.
Yeah. So who this is? The top person, man. Mr. Frazier already talked about that. So
Now I could give you some bands that I
That's
like
it.
to watch. That's not my band. I could definitely do that. If you have some
Right,
bands that I
right.
enjoy, obviously all the guys on the panel here, I've enjoyed watching. I really enjoy seeing Tim's band because I was familiar with Alto before he went there, and I know that that's a really small district. What are y'all like 2A?
2A,
Or
yeah.
yeah, so to see, I mean, his band bigger than mine, so to see the way he able to recruit those kids and get them fired up about band, and then I've also seen how he has his twirlers, do their field show, go and do their twirling routine and come back, so really making numbers count. I really respect what he's doing at that program. Man, my brother that I grew up with, Mark Martin, a lot of people don't even know how far back me and this dude go. Like before middle school, grew up around the corner from each other, battling in the backyard. I'm in my front yard, he in his back. A lot of people don't know this. We both switched playing the French horn around the same time from saxophone. Only thing that he stayed with it. When I got to college, I went back to saxophone. So having those times growing up, and then we started our careers in Port Arthur at the same time, and so we kind of had that experience of really kind of cutting our teeth together. I was at one middle school, he was at the Robert Middle School. Who else on here? Mr. Eddie Brock, like I said, just seeing what he did this year has been awesome. But some other bands that I enjoy in Texas is obviously Skyline and Cedar Hill, two excellent band programs.
And Sunset.
Sunset Sunset has phenomenal sound. They've been able to do some great things. I also enjoy a personal favorite of mine is Mr. Reginald Washington at Westbury.
Oh yeah.
Mr. Washington is one of those guys with, like, anybody who know I love the field. That's what I love to do. It's probably the most fun part of band for me. And to see Mr. Washington, man, to have the kind of longevity he done had in his career, and still every time I see his band, he doing something where I'm going, like, how he did that. I got, like, it always make me want to get back in that workshop and get back on YouTube and keep pulling out that next sheet of paper to start that next drill, because I always see him do something and I'm trying to figure out what he did, or I would have never thought to do that. So those are some personal favorites of mine.
Okay.
Hey, Mr. Fraser, I heard you say Tim in Texas was 2A. What's the enrollment for class 2A? Because you got about, like, what? How many people in your band, Tim?
The whole
last
school.
year was 105. The high school had 195 kids. The middle school had about 200. So we marched about 105, 110.
Yeah, that's 70%. That's 90% of this.
Bro, Tim the man, bro. Tim got the whole school marching in the band. Everybody playing. Come one, come all.
Well, see, they make every sixth grader take beginner band in alto, so that really helps.
Oh, that's what's up.
So you get to feed yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Damn.
Yeah.
That's the other miracle worker on here.
Yeah, that's the love right there.
Look, the other miracle worker just spoke of Mr. Roussel.
Oh yeah.
I remember. Ron, you may not remember this. I remember going and visit him at Scotlandville. Like, I think you had been on the job over there maybe like a couple of weeks. You remember that?
Yeah, when you came down, I think it was for the camp.
No,
Yeah.
I had come down. We had some kids auditioning.
Yeah.
We had some kids auditioning, and I called him up. He was in Beaumont. He had been in Beaumont and took that job at Scotlandville. And man, it's been. I remember this like it was yesterday. And I hope your mom is saying this. We walked through the school, and they had a fight broke out. Me and my wife, we wasn't even married yet, and they had a fight broke out in the hallway. So when we got to your room, you was in the office, and you had on the old Fold Southern windsuit jacket, a Beta Sig Alpha shirt, and some jeans, but it was like a Wednesday, and man, you look towed down, like you had just been whooped. Bro, and every year, man, every time I go visit you, that band hall look a little bit nicer. I remember I went like one summer, you was getting new floors put in. I went another summer, y'all was painting, and then you had your freshmen in there in the summer getting their fundamentals. Like, you doing an awesome job, man. I really respect. Somebody put in the questions, what bands do you respect in Louisiana? And I gotta say all of them, because to an extent I know what y'all deal with. I'm lucky I don't have to deal with it. You know, you got to really have some passion to stay with it out there, because it's you know, me and you done had conversations about some of your stuff that you have to deal with, and for you to be able to keep coming back, keep building that band up, and not just have a band, but be competitive, you know, being one of the leading bands out there. That's a hell of a job.
Man, I appreciate that, bro. It's been rough, man, but it's been worth it. That's really been a big thing. Of course, being in boat mining and being able to learn the game, you know, out there and seeing what y'all guys are doing, you know, even over at Port Arthur.
Oh shit, Spider-Man.
Hey, bro, it was wonderful, bro. Just seeing that, and then being able to step into my own realm and do what I have to do just to have a band, because I want to compete. That's just me, man. You know, my kids got to see Memorial Band. They got to see Beaumont Central. They got to see man, all y'all different bands in different states doing different things, man. So that's just big for me, man. Just to be able to model myself behind the success that you guys have, just to want to keep up, if not even exceed. So, man, shout out to y'all boys, man.
And man, you got some good kids over there in Scotlandville too. Like, they're dedicated, they love it. You got them.
Yeah. I'm listening.
For those that's watching, how can they get a hold of your method book that you're putting together?
So my method book went on a standstill. Everything came to a standstill because I really got into digging with my kids, and they started to grasp certain things, and I hadn't had the time to really sit down with my method book and try to push the envelope with it. But I have had time to start back up again, being that I'm doing everything virtual with this virtual learning. My kids have a better understanding. I'm starting to see that they're able to manage the technology and everything well enough. So I started importing my method book into Smart Music, and they've actually been responding to it. You know, they've been responding to it very, very well. So I'm able to sit down. I still have a good bit of it done. A good bit of it is done, man. And it's just more so transcribing and putting everything in different keys to be able to, work towards not even just the beginners, but, even the more advanced students as well.
Okay. We have...
Get you a shirt, man. Make sure y'all get a shirt.
Javon, what's going on?
Man, man, the focus brand. Positivity and optimism, man.
Right.
See who we all have here. Cedric, Ty, man, what's going on? Javon, what's going on?
What's up, man? How y'all doing?
Good, man.
Hey, what's going on, man? How y'all doing?
Man, man, hold on.
Bro, I feel honored being on here, man. They got some goats on.
Trent, look, I'm going side to side like shit.
Big dogs in the chat, man.
They got some legends on here, man.
What's going on, Spider-Man? How you doing?
What's good, brother?
Congratulations on your big shebang.
Got a married man.
Appreciate it.
What's going on, said Todd?
What's up, man?
Yo,
what's going on,
real quick,
Javon?
I'm sorry, bro. I would be remiss, man, if I didn't shout out Jeremy Spider-Man Connor for giving me all of the opportunity that he did while I was in college, man. That's major, bro. And I never take that for granted.
Wait a minute, I need to address that as well, because I saw that you had an office. I'm trying to figure out how you had an office, man. And that's not fair, but I ain't had no office, man.
Man, I made that my office, man.
Man, Iron literally went into a practice room that was not being used and converted that to his office. Like, you remember that room that was all the way to the left, right next to the room with the uniforms? They just had all kind of buku stuff. Iron cleaned that room out. He made that his office.
I ain't trying to hear all of it.
It looked good because I would have never known it was a practice room.
Look, I went in there, I set my table up. It was really cold in there. So, I brought a cover with me. And I was in there writing.
You couldn't turn the AC off in that thing. That was the only room the AC just blew 24/7.
Man, what did I write there? Y'all wrote a party rock, strip. What was the weed? Some stuff just didn't even leave the band room. But I was in my room. sitting up in my room, yeah, man, I was just happy to be working with a band, man, and kind of gave me that opportunity, bro, man. So, man, I appreciate it so much, man.
That's what's up.
Each one teach one, brother.
Yep.
Hey, question, fellas. Do you think, like, for like all the band directors, you got Prairie View, you got Southern Texas Southern, you got all the band directors. Do you think, like, for the band directors, could y'all come together and do like method training, music theory training as as one big group of band directors and put it together and publish it? You think that could be possible? That'll be something great for the culture.
It will be.
That would be great, man.
I think between all of us right now, the things we do individually with our program, if we were to just put that on paper and put it together, you got a book already. But just based on the habits that we've created with our kids. Yeah, that's definitely possible.
You know, we all teach different kids. We all teach different demographics. So the goal at the end is still the same. We still want all the kids to be able to perform at a certain level. But of course, we have to do so many different things in so many different ways. Yeah, man. You know, if we were able to share that stuff and share our different techniques with the world, man, with anybody else, I'm more than sure it'll be productive. It'll be very, very productive, man. We make some major things happen.
Man, that'll be dope.
Yeah,
and go ahead.
Yeah, everybody's teaching the same theory but different strategies. So, you know, some might work different from another student. Yeah, that'll work perfect.
Also, man, I want to this here, man, if y'all don't mind me saying something about what you just said, man. I think that would be a good idea, but I want to agree with what the guys just said. I think it's catered towards, it should be catered towards the guys that's in the trenches, man. All these good high school and middle school band directors, man. I'm finna say something. And some of y'all probably thinking this already. I'm finna let you know a little secret. The better teachers, in terms of music and band, the better teachers are at the high school and the middle school level. It ain't the college level. I'm finna just go on and say that, nah, it ain't the college level, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I can speak for myself personally on some of this. I was reaching kids better and doing an even better job just in terms of teaching and what I'm putting out there when I was a high school director. Man, a lot of times, man, these college directors, man, we be so busy, and a lot of this stuff is just performance-based time and just trying to get stuff out there for the sake of a product, man. I did my better teaching, man. I kid you not, at the high school level. So I think, man, if we putting out something in terms of like a method book and everything like that, man, I think those guys at the high school level and middle school level that's really in the trenches teaching, man, I think they should spearhead that. I wouldn't mind getting behind it as well, man. I think Aaron is doing an awesome job of what he got going on. But yeah, that's just my 2 cents on it, man. I could speak all day on that stuff, man.
Oh, yeah.
Excellent.
Javon.
What's up, man?
Man, you ever thought about doing teaching in the trenches virtual?
Yeah, I did. But I think this year was kind of a little rough because there was so many guys doing so many things similar, and it was a lot of good information put out there. So I didn't want to kind of put it in overkill with what was already going on. But teaching in the trenches definitely will be back next year if God says the same.
Okay.
Man, I have a question for all the band directors on here, man. Like, what's that one go-to song that you guys always play, no matter who you battle, no matter what game? What's that one go-to song that I always play?
Which, you know, my repertoire every year, so I don't know.
I'm trying to switch it. I definitely try to switch it up every year and do something new. But you know, we all got those songs that we're gonna pass out during band camp because it's gonna give us that maybe 10 song minimum we try to go into the first game with. But man, I can say some of my favorite songs that I did with my band. Don't Cry, Feels Like Summer. Those, you know, being able to battle with those songs, the kids were more engaged in it, you know. So I don't have a every year thing. I just have my stuff that I'm gonna pass out at the beginning of the year just to try to get repertoire going because they're easy too, and the younger kids can learn. I do my best to try to teach through those simple arrangements, and then but like Don't Cry, Lil Wayne. Feels like some of the one we did at Port Arthur, man. That was really, really good. And it's a few other ones as well, man. But I think some guys we have some favorites.
That feels like something has to go.
Yeah, I got a question. How are some of you guys approaching this COVID-19 situation? Like with your band, I know some of y'all have got back into school and teaching the classes. What are some of y'all approaching?
I'm gonna be honest. We try not to rush things. I see a lot of people just trying to rush to get back and everything. I see too many schools, too many outbreaks, just popping up just because everyone's in a rush to get everything back. Look, I will be the last one to ever have someone say, I got someone in my band with COVID, so now we got to shut down. Right now, it's just taking it day by day, trying to get the school safe. It's not even really about band for us right now.
I think that question really depends on where you are. You got some areas that's a lot more conservative in terms of how they want to approach, opening back up, how they want to approach moving back. And then you got more, you got other areas where, they want to move back towards, I don't want to say normalcy, but they ready to move forward into what they need to do. Like in our area, and Marcus in our area too, I think in our immediate area, we might be one of the only bands that hadn't started yet face to face. We were supposed to start face to face this upcoming week. I hope none of my kids see that because we ain't told them yet. I think to me the biggest thing right now is some people don't have a choice. Like where we at, they plan on playing football.
10 games.
We got a schedule. We done had meetings about it. Like they planning on playing football. We in the red state and we at the bottom of the state. So it's ultra conservative. They ready to play football, and so our football team been back practicing since June 8th. And so for my kids from their standpoint,
right,
football practicing, basketball practicing, volleyball practicing, for them they see it and say, why all these other kids get to come back and have their thing, but we don't get ours. And so that kind of puts us as directors, and Mark is on here too. My partner in crime, Mark Ward, on here too, where we have to kind of be holding the, we left holding the purse, kind of like, well, why y'all won't let us come back, right? And so we kind of have to try and walk that line between trying to do what we think is the safest thing to do, and then also trying to not lose our band program because they feel like everybody else can do and they not being allowed to do. So we're gonna open up this week. I venture to say, and I really believe this, that we got stricter guidelines for our band, and they probably have for just about anything in our district. We didn't try to digitize everything. We got COVID guidelines out the wazoo. We got like a digital COVID questionnaire that got to be filled out every day before they can come to practice.
Right.
I mean, we're gonna have, so the hope is that we can try and move slow. We're gonna definitely move slower. You might not see Memorial drill like they normally drill, and I can say that right off the top. I'm serious because just the spacing in the way we do a squad, is an issue right now. So the goal for us right now is to kind of try and bring it along slowly, really give the kids something to still be excited about. I think that's my biggest thing this year, is not to lose my band behind COVID. It's to try and give them something where they still feel validated. They still feel like they have something to do. And more than anything, for them not to feel like we didn't fight for them when all the other kids were being allowed to do stuff. I don't want them to feel like, we didn't go to bat for them. But, if it start going left, I'm going to shut it down and not have no hesitation about it because the kids come first. And I'd rather they be here and healthy than, just in the stands.
But also with that, we're only allowed to do, and not just allowed to do, but we do. We're getting paid by an administrator. We all have a boss. If they have an expectation to be at practice or to not be at practice, that's just something that us band directors, we have this comes with the position, comes with the title. You know,
True.
If they pay you to be there, you better be there. They're gonna have something to say.
Well, for,
before somebody say something else, man, I know a lot of people might not know Clifford, but Clifford played B-Tone at Southern in the early 2000s, and I know he's in Georgia in the things going on in Georgia. I invited him on so he can give his aspects of what's going on that side of the country too. So y'all welcome Mr. Clifford to the
How you doing, Cliff?
Man, I had to sit in front of Cliff, man. That wasn't a good fall 03, man. Having to sit in front of him and Copper Top.
Look,
Man.
that's 2000, man. Straight up, that's my crab brother. Straight up, 2000 in the building. That's my TV, man. 2000 in the building. Carry on.
What's going on, y'all?
What's up with it, man? But yeah, just like I was saying, what's going on out here? Well, we don't start in Dallas. We don't start school until the 8th, but then they might be pushing that back, so we can't even have any summer stuff until band stuff going on until then. But yet they don't know if they gonna move our football season to the spring. So it's like they really don't know what's going on, so they just keep on telling us in a professional way of we're still figuring out stuff. But the plan is to start full school and remote. COVID is kind of really, especially I give a shout out to all those small band directors that's out there, because COVID has really hit my band hard, not as in like they have COVID, but as in like especially recruitment for a smaller band. I didn't have a whole lot of folks graduate, but yet key folks, and then like you have this new year of parents, of course, they don't have to come to school, they can do remote, and you have key students, small band, whose parents, going remote, which, I'm not upset with them doing that because you're supposed to be concerned about your child regardless. But yet, when you have a small program, that really hurts. So, it's a lot going on. And then work for real, they really think that they really can move back our start date from another 4 weeks. So, I mean, it's just different when you're in a bigger city. When you're in a smaller city, because since it's more people, it's more of a contraction because more people are around each other. So yeah, it's totally different when you're in a bigger city because they really concerned about a lot. Like we had a lot of folks. We wasn't as bad as Houston, but yet we had a lot going on with the whole city and trying to get our numbers down. I think like today was the second day that we didn't 100 or like 1,000 people reporting that they have COVID. So, but our death numbers are still kind of staying the same. So they concerned about how that whole thing is gonna play out. So, it's tough out here right now.
Yeah. Let me jump in, man. Just to be honest, man, like, first of all, like I said, I was joking with Tim because I know that he's one of the only other bands that do what we do that actually are having a band camp. I think we started on July the 15th. I'm not sure when Tim started, but Texas was cleared to start on June the 8th. Oh no, I think I lost y'all.
We hear you.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna keep going. Texas was cleared on June the 8th to to start practicing. But what I did first, the first thing that I did was I went to Alex Frazier. That's the first person I went to. I said, hey man, what's your thoughts? What are you planning on doing? And we sat down and he showed me his COVID plan based on what we were reading. And we spent maybe 2 weeks, well, really more than that, but 2 weeks on focus, just like sharing with each other. This is what the rules say. This is what the guidelines say. How can we do this safely? The next thing I did was I went to Dallas and watched Mr. Brock. Mr. Brock is being kind of modest, but he had a mass band practice going on during the COVID. I also talked to, while I was out there, the Duncanville band director and a couple other band directors that had their camps. And I did the research first so I can know, okay, what's the best practices for these other bands? What's going to work with us? But at the end of the day, it's kind of like Brother Tim said and what Frazier said. Hey, man, look, in Texas, I mean, different places have different numbers. Like in Houston and Dallas is big, but like in Beaumont, there are affected. Like matter of fact, the first person that died in this area was a band director from Hardin Jefferson. The first person that died was a band director. But down here, there's a different attitude about the virus. So we have stipends, we have families to think about. We've had scares, don't get me wrong, but luckily we were blessed to make it 5 weeks without incident. But it takes a lot of planning and it takes a lot of networking. I'm always gonna get on that bandwagon, that grandstand. Hey man, we need to make sure that we're together and that we are helping each other work together to get to the common goal. My situation might not be exactly like your situation, but I can take something from you and you can take something from me. So I just want to give a shout out to those band directors that helped us to make it possible, because it definitely wasn't just me sitting down and being smart and knowing what to do. I lean on my brothers Frazier. I lean on Mr. Brock and different band directors in the area. We have a school right now, Port Neches Groves. They have strictly in-person school, and that's like right maybe 5 minutes from Alex's school, about 10 minutes from my school. The only other option they have is being homebound. So every area is kind of different, but I will say that we are taking this virus seriously. Traveled all over the state, shared with different band directors that's on this call, and we're just doing the best that we can. Now, if something did happen, I shut it down. I shut it down real quick. The high school across town from us actually had one case. Now, it wasn't an outbreak, but you know how the news is. It was one student that caught the virus, didn't affect nobody else, thank goodness. But these are things that we have to deal with every day. So everything that glitters not gold, that's all I'm saying. But we do the best that we can. And like Frazier said, man, our football team been practicing. Our basketball team been practicing. Volleyball team been practicing. So now you get to a point where even though you don't want to do it, you have to weigh certain things. And plus, on top of that, we have students that have like terrible home situations, man. And we had a couple attempted suicides this summer. We had people getting touched in the wrong ways. We had a lot of stuff. I'm not really going to go into it, but sometimes, I mean,
band is a happy place.
Right, we're first responders, you know. I mean, and when they get that hazard pay right, you know, I'm gonna want some of that. But we're first responders in the sense, man. Like a lot of these people don't have fathers or mothers or adequate things at their homes, and the band is where they get those things. So now you're asking the person to risk, you know, dying fast or by catching the disease, or you risking them dying slow by being in whatever situation it is. I don't know the answer. I'm not gonna pretend that I do. But as a teacher, I felt the responsibility, the obligation to at least put forth the effort to make sure my kids had at least one safe place. Now, if we get shut down, if something happens, I'm pushing the button. Like when we had those scares that I was talking about, hey, you go home right now. You no, turn around. Like we had all that stuff going on. But at the same time, some of these kids really needed to be there. So for our area, because we don't have as many deaths and as many infections as say a Houston or Dallas or New Orleans or something like that, we're a little bit different. I don't think that I could sit up here and judge anybody for not doing it. I don't think that I could sit up here and judge anybody for doing it, because every situation is different.
Okay. Question for Mark, Tim, Alex, and Brock, man. Do y'all think that y'all will have a full football season, or do you think cut it short?
I think they're gonna get a season finished. I don't know if it's gonna be 10 games, but I believe that we're gonna end up having a playoff system, even if they have to cut the season short. I don't think they're gonna not have playoffs in the state champion this year.
In Texas, it's very football is very serious. You gotta realize, y'all, especially in these bands of Louisiana and stuff like that, you know, y'all come to our stadiums like, man, these are big stadiums, or look at y'all facilities. Okay, well, honestly speaking, football games pay for a lot of that stuff, the revenue that's generated from Texas football in general. So Texas is not going to necessarily lose that money. Also, we've been given a directive, our marching contest, and Frazier and Tim can speak to that. Our marching contest in our region with me and Frazier it's usually around October 19th or 20th, like the second week of October. But the UIL has sent out a directive that says, hey, you don't have to do it then, but you need to have it done before December 7th for small schools and December 10th for large schools. So what UIL in the state of Texas is saying that, hey, the plan is to move forward. So right now, I think we played Fraser band on the third game, trying to get ready for that, man. That's like a juggernaut game. But we played Fraser on the third game, and then we our season has been pushed back. But for all intents and purposes, whether they shorten it or whether they have 10 games, I think that Texas is going to have a football season. So now, if that's the case, the only choice we have is do we just say, we're not participating and then lose that venue? Because Texas will cut your money real quick if you're not producing. Or do we say how do we move forward as safely as possible? And everybody is going to have to make that decision based on their area, in Texas at least.
I agree that they'll start. I don't think we're going to get through a full season. Well, let me say this. I guess if things continue as they are in terms of cases going up, I just don't see it happening. You got school districts where kids ain't even back yet, and the people that's just at the schools are already getting it. Since I've been back at work since June 1st. That's when I had to report back to work, June 1st. So I've been back this whole time. And just in the time that I've been back, just with the athletics being back, we had 2 football players get the virus. We had a volleyball player get the virus and a basketball player, right? Now they shut them things down for a week and then let them kids come back. I think the public outcry, if kids come back to school and you start playing football games and kids start getting sick, I think the public outcry is going to be such that, they're going to have to make some kind of adjustment. I just don't see it. Right now, we got 9 games on our schedule. I don't see us playing all 9 of them games. As far as the band is concerned, what we have right now is we're going to our home games, which is only 3. And if we go to any away games, it'll only be 2, Port Neches Groves and then 2 Mark and Beaumont. And that's because those games are close. But even with that, the logistics for some of this stuff is a nightmare, man. Like when you start talking about buses, and now you can't have but 12 kids on the bus. So, our band travel as a caravan, right? So when we travel, it ain't just the band, it's the band, the JV and the varsity cheerleaders, the dancers, and they got as many people in the dancers they got in the band, and all of that is under the band. Or I should really say it's all under me. So normally that's 8 buses. So now you got to go down and say 12 to 14 kids a bus. Now we need twice that many, and we don't got that many drivers to be driving out. You see what I'm saying? Like some of this stuff, I think I keep me and Mark Ward been talking about this for like weeks. It's a lot of people, they want to have their cake and eat it too. They want it both ways. And to me, that's just not possible. You can't have, we don't want to deal with COVID, but we also want to do things the way we normally do it. Those 2 things can't coincide. But they trying it. That's the thing, they trying it. And I just think at some point, some gonna give, so I think we'll start a football season. I don't think we'll end it. I don't think we'll finish it forward.
And to speak on that point about the buses, in Alto, we don't even have enough buses to put the whole band 12 to a bus like that. The school district doesn't even own that many buses. So it's definitely gonna be a challenge as we move forward.
Okay. Now, as far as the Brock, go ahead, man. What you think?
Well, I did see they're still trying to find out if the bands are even going to be there, even at the fit. So if they're gonna have that, so they really don't know what they're gonna do. We kind of in the doldrums right now because we really don't know. They got a whole lot of what if situations, but we all know if was a fifth, we all be drunk. So this could happen, this could happen, and then this could happen, but it's like, but you don't really know. So like, man, we be having meetings like these Zoom meetings, and they like an hour and a half, and this whole hour and a half long. I'm not gonna say they didn't say nothing, but I was just trying to find out what's going on other than you're assuming. So I guess, but you know, for the district, they have to at least meet with you so that they can say, well, we're, you know, it's a lot of things that we're trying to do now, but yet we don't know exactly what we're going to do. This could happen. We could go forward with the with the season this year. Now we can go on forward with the season for the fall, but yet the band might not necessarily be there, or y'all, or you know, they might cut down numbers, or because they're trying to. It's really about them fans that's gonna come. Like the band, we ain't paying to get inside the game, but them fans that's coming to the game, that's money, just like Mark was saying. So especially I'm at a school like Carter that has prestige in football. Folks want to go to the game. So they're gonna be more cognitive on getting that money.
Hold on. Is that Clarence? Excuse me, Mr. Brock. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Is that Clarence Gibson that just came on?
Hey, I didn't even see that either. What up with it?
A lot of legends coming through, man.
Yeah, Mr. Rollins.
Mr. Rollins, what's going on?
Oh, okay.
Gibson, what's going on?
Oh, yeah. But, you know, we just trying to find out what we're going to do.
Man, y'all talking. I'm steady sending links out.
But this the other thing, too, Brock.
You
know, this the other thing. I don't know if this statewide, but, you know, the rule around here is you can only have 50% capacity in the stadium.
Correct.
And the bands and all the other auxiliary count in them numbers. So if you got, you know, like if you got bands coming, that's less tickets you can sell when you already can't sell but so many tickets. You know, so they made a ruling out here for our region that the bands can't travel to away games, which I'm not mad about for this year. You know, the one we really want to get to was my man over here, Mark, because you know that's our rivalry. But you know, it's like I say, it's so many for anything that you could say. This is why you should do it. You could probably find 2 reasons why somebody could say why you won't. And my thing is, at some point, you just got to call a spade and say, I care more about this stuff than I care about COVID. Because a lot of this is what it comes down to. I care more about this than I care about COVID. And I feel like UIL, which is our governing body for sports, they didn't basically lay their cards on the table. We care more about this than we really care about COVID. And our governor too, but you know, we the same in the same boat as Florida and Georgia and everything else. So, you know, it's all about that power of the dollar.
And another thing too, just like what Mark was saying about, you know, like the UL said, you know, they had released us from there. DISB is a district that says they don't care. They gonna have to approve and say that. We understand what the state's saying, but they have to set out their guidelines of saying, okay, this is what we're gonna do. So it's like, even with them saying that, because I had got all that same stuff, you know, because I mean, in the state of Texas, we are, you know, linked for the folks who, you know, not in the state of Texas, like we work with our regions. So we gonna get to update what TMA gonna say about, you know, the new guidelines for COVID. So it's really just on the level of, you know, waiting on what our district is going to approve. So it's like, UIL said this, and of course, you know, that's the governing body, but our district will have to actually be like, this is what we're going to do about that. Even though they said that, we're still going to send out our letter saying, this is how we're going in the future for that.
Right,
so,
right, because even to that, the commissioner, he's been having meetings. He started out having those meetings twice a week and ended up going once a week. And they change every time something comes out. And at the end of the day, they left it up to the district's discretion. So it's going to vary from district to district, you know, like they're saying region to region almost.
Yep.
Right.
And I have a question as directors. Do y'all think the show style 8 to 5 band's going to be a more appreciative this year if the bands or the music programs are not in the stands and they lose ticket sales? You think they'll see a difference with the band being there with the crowd and the band not being there?
Nope.
Nah, because they
Texas. Ain't nobody care about that.
I mean, 50% capacity, they're gonna feel that regardless of a band.
Regardless, it's football. Folks gonna want to come to them games in Texas, so they not worried about that.
Right.
I forgot. Well, Louisiana is gonna. We need bands to be there.
Right. Man, I honestly think our school district, I think it's gonna definitely hit different without the band being there. And
they
pretty vocal about, our head coach, who is also our athletic director, being pretty vocal about wanting the band there. I mean, he didn't call me I'm not gonna say we completely on different pages. We're not necessarily on the same page, but I think for our school, if the band is not there,
it's gonna be noticed.
I don't see it being the same kind of experience.
Of course, it's always the band fault when they lose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I know for
got blew out about 50 points, but it was the band fault.
And I know for us, man, the band is a 12th man for Scotlandville, man.
They signals,
we have a quota we gotta do. All starts, we gotta get them. We gotta do everything we can to try to help the football team. So I can tell you this much: they have football without the Black Swan Marching Band. It's gonna feel weird.
I don't think it's gonna change the ticket sales, but it's definitely gonna be noticed. I mean, the environment, the atmosphere will take a big hit.
Right. I mean,
and I think that's across the board,
But they're gonna take a hit regardless because of COVID, regardless.
Correct.
So that's why I feel like that for us in Texas, it's really not gonna be a big impact because of I don't much of an impact to the point that it's gonna be an issue.
No, it's just gonna make the games boring.
It's not gonna be no issue. Folks might say this and that, but it ain't gonna be no issue.
I know. I don't know about other districts, but like Fraser said, our region is a little bit different. It doesn't matter if you're a core style band. It doesn't matter if you're a military style band or a traditional show style band like we are. That doesn't matter. I know one thing. I have a picture right now that I had to send. That I sent to my finance director, and he was like, we're talking about how are we going to social distance in the stands at the same time as having the fans being able to do. With our school, with our stadium, we are kind of lucky because we have a double, one of those double tier stadiums. We have the bottom level, we got the top level on both sides. So we're trying to work that out. Memorial has a pretty big stadium as well.
You know what he went to?
In places like let's say Brookshire, where they have small stadiums, I think that's going to be more of an issue. Like I keep saying, it depends on where you are in the state. Right now we're at 50% capacity, but I think our stadium holds like I don't know, Fraser, what it is, like 10, 20,000, like in our stadium.
I don't know, but it's big.
That stadium big in Beaumont.
So
that's that the Ford Stadium, right?
No, it's right next to Ford Park though. It is right next to Ford.
Oh, okay, right now. Oh yeah, the one next to Ford Park, yeah.
Right. We don't know, man. These questions that y'all asking, we're trying to do our best to answer it, but we don't know any more than what you know. We're just
find out today.
The situation we in.
I don't think nobody knows. I mean, right now.
That's it.
I mean, I think they just giving y'all the runaround. Basically, that's how I feel.
A lot of like in the Central Parish, they're telling us is just like prepare like we're gonna have a football season. They keep pushing the date back in Louisiana of when football season is gonna start. So like everything is really in the air right now.
And
football started in October in Baton Rouge. So
yeah, it's on October.
October 8th.
Y'all give a shout out. Y'all just welcome Clarence Gibson in, Lawrence Rollins. Somebody else came in on the backside. Derek
Mr. Walker, Mr. Young,
and William Young. Man, how y'all guys doing during the COVID?
How y'all doing?
What's up, fellas? How you doing, man?
How y'all doing, man?
What's up, Jedi? William Young. What's up, brother Walker? Thanks for the invite, Mark Ward.
See William, he's superstar. He on two lives right now because I'm watching him on Facebook. They on the other one too. He's superstar right now.
No.
William and Derek.
Hey, what's going on, fellas? I'm sorry, I'm just now looking down at it.
They superstars, man.
Hey,
no superstars here.
I got a question. I got a question for every high school band director on this panel.
You want to say I'm all at the same time?
How can these schools raise the money that your program has raised over the years to get the things you got? Give up the games. Let them know.
That's not a universal question at all.
Good. I want to say
can't
this.
give those secrets. That's
For
taxes.
Cedar Hill, a good portion of that is us just inheriting a program from the clear people, black people, as they say, and taking it over. You know, we do get, you know, we do have a great supportive system for as, you know, fine arts and band boosters. Most of our funds come from our band boosters and what they raise at football games because they have concessions on both sides. So that's really where our money.
We also do sponsorships. We do a sponsorship in our community. So we have a sponsorship paper that we send out, say in April, and we hit up all our businesses in our community, and you know, we put their ads on our trailer. We put their business logo on the back of our shirts. We do what's called a marchathon, and so, you know, to get on our trailer, you have to at least give us $1,200 in sponsorship funds. And so we do have some businesses that, you know, give $1,200, and then we'll put their sign in front of the band in the stadium. So we put, you know, their logos on certain things, and then that way they are able to give us funds and stuff like that off of that. But, you know, like Derek said, we inherited a good system where our district was already given, you know, we're one high school town, one high school district. So, you know, our tax money paid for a lot of that stuff.
I think every scenario is pretty different. You know, there's no one teller
joining the
pretty
chat.
much solve all the problems for everybody.
Yeah, I agree. But I will say this too, though. I think one thing that's really important about being able to solicit that money, get that money from people, is you got to have a good product. You know, if you buy Coca-Cola, don't matter where you buy it from, everybody pretty much know what to expect. So people will keep spending. You know, they'll keep putting their money towards it. So I think before you can start soliciting anything from your community, you got to make sure if your product is good, then it's just a matter of what is going to be the vehicle that you're going to use to try to solicit those funds. And like Mark said, it's different because some of the stuff that other people can do in maybe bigger areas, you know, we can't do. We stopped doing car washes and stuff a long time ago because it just wasn't worthwhile. We probably spent more money than we made. But, you know, asking for donations, we kind of on the chitlin circuit around here, man. We hit up churches. We sent letters to churches for our battle of the bands and, you know, small businesses and stuff like that. We don't have like big corporations out here, but I think what we get what we need in general because people see the band, and when people see the band, they have a, you know, they leave with a good feeling. And so when it's time to empty out some pockets, you know, whether that's $10, $20, $100, I think, you know, it makes people a little bit more willing to give.
Yeah, to piggyback on what Fraser said, we do similar things. Like we don't have like big corporations down here, but what we do strive to do is make sure our product is good enough to where our community supports us. I can tell you that, like I said, if you see Beaumont United's band anywhere, please believe our students didn't pay any money for it. But what I leave out a lot of times is the hard work that it takes to raise that money, whether it be fundraisers. Our band parents are, oh my goodness, they are phenomenal. Sometimes it's just like me, like sometimes the band directors got to grind. We just had our band camp. We had our last day. We usually have like a fun day, but I like to fish. So instead of paying money, you know, I just burn the fish out of my freezer and we had a little thing. You know what I'm saying? That gets the community buy-in, and whoever their parents can come and get something to eat and all that. That kind of brings them in, and then we do a lot of fundraisers. In our district, to be honest, if we're putting forth the effort, for the most part, like Fraser said, said, we're putting forth the product that we need to put forth. We're showing growth at UIL. We're showing growth at March to Competition. We're showing growth in our numbers, and we're going in a general direction. Our district and our community will support us. We have people donating from across town, which that might not sound like it's amazing to you guys. We're from there's one side of the highway and there's another side of the highway, if you understand what I'm saying. And we have people from the other side of the highway helping us out and donating stuff. So you got to be willing. We do the Alzheimer's walk. We do the Susan G. Komen breast cancer awareness thing. We do a performance at HEB or Walmart. You know, we try to be visible in our community as much as possible to make sure that they see us. And a lot of times that's late nights, early mornings. One year we had a football game. Well, we had a breast cancer awareness thing. Then we had a football game. Then we had a performance at Texas Southern. The next day we had something at I think in Port Arthur. It gets tiresome. But if I just went to Port Arthur or in the football game, yeah, that's cool. But my community wouldn't have seen it because it's in a different city, right? Or if I would just went to the Texas Southern game. So just and every situation, like you said, is different. But I think attention to detail in our craft and also attention to getting the community involved in whatever way that may be for you is the key to raising these funds.
One thing I learned from Dean Hill was that, you know, people they're gonna follow winners. They gonna if you put out a product, they're gonna follow you. Now, any marketing thing that comes to Dallas area at one time, Townview was getting all those gigs, and he actually referred us to one of his marketing companies one time, where when conventions come to town, you may do a pep band or something, and they will you will play for that. And the going rate for that is $1,500, and you'll play convention for like 10-20 minutes, and they'll pay for your food, they'll pay for buses and stuff like that. But the reason why we got repeat customer, we was a repeat customer, and still today, Skyline gets some of those. They get some of those gigs is because of the type of show or what we did, the way we handled ourselves, the way we came out, and the product that we produced. That's why I was looking for, the product that we produced. And so we were able to present a good product. By presenting a good product, they want to be attached to those things. And so, you get your name out there when, people want to be attached to winners. They want to be, and I don't want to say the word, I don't want to really use the word winners, but a good product. They want to be, attached to a good product, present ourselves well. There's many times, now I'm able to refer to other bands. I'm like, hey, call this band. They're available at this moment, at this time, especially in the spring semester. I tell them, I say, hey, we're not available. Call such and such, and they will make that call, and those bands will be able to do it. But those gigs like that, it's like $1,500, all travel. They feed kids, and sometimes we do take them. But you got to be flexible. You got to be flexible, because sometimes they will come, especially when I was at Skyline, they will come when you don't expect them, or when you're not in season. When you're not in season, because they want a marching band in April, and
to what all these gentlemen are saying, they're right. You got to have that. You're selling what our product is, what we're selling, what we're marketing is not something that people can grab and hold. So we got to make sure this inanimate object, a good sound, and it's presented well, and there's a level of professionalism with it.
Exactly.
Because even with that, to kind of piggyback on what they've done in Cedar Hill, we do a lot of that now. And then I'll even go as far as selling sponsorships for halftime shows. Since we do travel, I didn't do it this year because I'm not sure what our travel situation is going to be. But that's free advertisement every halftime show. And if you have a program like these gentlemen, they're gonna come to watch it. So it's an extended audience for a lot of these businesses.
I have a question because it's two guys on here that I know may raise like major money to do like overseas trips, Mr. Herrero and Javon Pollard. I would really be interested to know like how y'all were able to, fundraise to take your bands. I think didn't both of y'all go like overseas?
Hey, what's up, everybody? Yeah, I was fortunate enough to be able to take the Undercard Marching Band team, bust them up overseas to London. And it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy at all. It was a combination of doing conventions, like you guys had mentioned. Our band parents were great supporters. Our band parents did a whole lot of fundraisers. Another thing that we did was we reached out not just to our community and local businesses, but we also reached out to local politicians. One of the best times to hit them up is when it's election time. Because everybody is trying to help out. They have all these funds. They have all these donations. You got to get them out some kind of way. You can't keep the money. So it's some of the best times to hit them up. And we always thank them. We threw a gala. We did all kinds of things to try to raise that money. But of course, Mardi Gras parades are definitely the band's biggest budget maker.
Hey man, shout out to you, man. Congratulations on your new band hall, man. I just got a new band hall too, so congrats to you, man.
Oh man, appreciate it, man.
Hey,
Got a brand new
where
building.
you at, man?
It's kind of bitter. It's bittersweet because kids can't be in the building right now.
Right. Oh no, I feel you.
Right now.
I feel you, man. It's the same thing here, man. It's the same thing here. So, but congrats.
Appreciate it, man. Congratulations to you too, man. Because look, whenever we get the green light, it's gonna be on and popping.
Oh, straight up, same here.
Mm-hmm. To kind of add on to what Chalupa said, we pretty much did a lot of the same stuff. One of the biggest things, for those of you who know me, I have a very colorful personality. So when I meet people, I kind of jokingly ask for money, but I'll be really serious. I'm just being honest. Sometimes they bite, most times they don't. But again, most people they want their names attached to something big. So when we took our trip to Normandy and to Paris, France, a lot of companies, man, they just wanted to donate just so they can say they helped the kid make that trip possible. So, and I remember I reached out to Chalupa when it was time for us to kind of go. One of the biggest expenses for us though was getting the instruments out of the country. So again, a lot of you all are saying a lot of good things. Dub has mentioned a lot of really, really, really good things. And like Chalupa, we did a gala, and we made roughly about $50,000-$60,000 on the gala. In terms of just some people just bought tickets and sponsored tables, like almost like a Zulu ball. So that was huge for us. And man, just really just soliciting, man, just going out there and talking to these different businesses and companies. And that's kind of how we made our out of the country trip work. And what a lot of you all are going to learn, man, it's going to sound crazy, but it's probably cheaper to go out of the country than it is to go to Disney World. So it's not as expensive as people may think it is. So I just want to kind of put that out there for any of you guys who are thinking about taking trips in the future.
Can you explain to me? I know what a gala is, but how, you say $50,000. How does that work?
Well, pretty much what we did was, if you ever been to a Zulu ball, it's kind of like a prom for adults. That's kind of what a gala is. People dress up in these nice fancy outfits, suits, gowns, and they come out, man. It's an adult prom essentially. And what we did was we sold tables, and of course it was cheaper to buy a table because the prices that we set for individual tickets was extremely high. So most people was getting what people and buying tables, and then we ended up getting a few big name people to kind of really throw some money at it. And all we had to do was put their brand or their company name on our brochures or whatever the case may be. And it was a tax write-off for them. But for us, it was a major come up. So
now I'm really asking, man, because like I said, man, if I find something that I could use, I'm gonna ask questions. So I hope y'all don't mind. like how much did you charge for individual tickets and how much did you charge for tables?
Our individual tickets, I don't remember the price, but I knew it was roughly about $140. And we did our gala right there at Southern University, so it wasn't even it wasn't a ballroom or nothing like that. But our individual tickets, and that covered entrance, and they covered like maybe like a small little entree or something like that. But our individual tickets was maybe like $140. I don't know how much Chalupa them charged for theirs. And our tables was, I don't remember how much tables, but if you email me, I can get all that information to you because I still have it.
Okay, I'm gonna message you on Facebook so I can get your email.
No problem, man.
Did y'all have like people bid on items? My wife's company do a big gala in Houston every year, and I think they made like $2 million in a night, but they had like signed memorabilia from Michael Jordan and did y'all like do anything like that?
Yes, we actually did a lot of that. Actually, I'm happy you brought that up. We had a guy come out and paint on the spot and was selling paintings. We had LSU paraphernalia. We had we raffled all kind of stuff during the gala. We had people pull numbers when they come in, and we gave out all type of stuff, man. And some of the alumni, they had old stuff that they wanted to get rid of just to kind of help us out, and they were selling old trophies. So people was donating, man, old footballs, retro helmets and stuff like that. And believe it or not, folks was going over there and buying that stuff, man. Like some stuff we wouldn't even look twice at. Folks was really spending some money on it. So
yeah, that's another thing that we did. We had the auctions as well, and people would, like Javon said, they'll donate and purchase things just to help out, just the community support. And that goes back to what you guys were saying earlier about having that rapport with your community, making sure you're a part of the community, not just being just a band that plays for the school. You have to be actively engaged in the community as a band director and as a band as a whole.
Okay, last question. I promise. And this might seem weird, but I gotta know. Did y'all have like alcohol at y'all galas? Like, I'm just asking.
We did. I mean, it was a adult event. And let me tell you, man, one of the biggest things I did was I kind of put a little fire under my district. Once we got the green light for the trip, that was it, man. I was going to the school board. I was reaching out to everybody who was somebody. So that kind of helped us out as well. And not only that, nothing like that had happened in our district. And they just want, again, a lot of people want to be attached to stuff. Like they want to be able to say they had some input or some stake in it.
Hey, that gala idea is real great. I had got that from Javon when he did it when he was going out of the country, and then I had called it an adult prom, and like the first week I put out ticket sales, I think we made $1,000 in 1 week on just pre-sale tickets. Yeah. So it's like they said, you gotta, if you're a pillar of the community and they see the band all the time, you get support 100%. So if anybody want to after COVID or whatever, I'll definitely say go ahead and get it. The gala or whatever you want to call it, they'll really come out.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. We actually had one set up this year. We had another trip. We didn't put it out there. We didn't advertise it as much because we really didn't need to this go around. Like we did the Paris trip because, but we had another trip out of the country scheduled for this May that just passed. And the gala is something that we're doing annually now. So it's my boosters have taken on that event. So it's kind of spearheaded by my boosters now. But that's something that we're going to do annually. So that's just, that's probably our biggest fundraiser. So that's something we're going to do annually because we have another trip coming up providing COVID ends. So, yeah.
Did y'all have to get a license for the alcohol? I know I said it was last question, but I'm trying to really get this thing.
Are we, is this live?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's live. It's live.
You can send me a message.
I'm gonna answer that call.
BYOB, bring your own bottle.
So for the event that we did, there was alcohol, but we didn't have to get an alcohol license because We had the place donated, and they already had an alcohol license and all that good stuff. We had it at the New Orleans Jazz Market. I don't know if you've ever been to New Orleans, but New Orleans Jazz Market, that's nice little spot. That the whole venue was donated to us. With all that was free of charge for us. But people did pay for the alcohol. We didn't make money off of the alcohol, but we made money off everything else. I ain't mind that because we got everything for free. So like, I bet. But yeah, it was definitely, alcohol's gonna get the people out. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Definitely. I got a question for Everson. Everson, you still there?
Yeah, he got his mic muted.
Unmute him.
He got to unmute.
Oh.
All right.
Everson.
Yeah, unmuted.
Everson, you can hear me?
I'd be busy at the moment, man.
Yeah. Hey, correct me if I'm wrong with why he trying to get Everson. I think if you don't sell the liquor, I don't really think you need a liquor license, Mark. It
depends on the venue.
Okay.
And and some venues sell alcohol, so that'll be a conflict with them selling, and if them having an open bar, then you bring your own liquor. That's the only thing. So you got to be careful how you pick your venues when you're doing things like that.
The way liquor distribution works is the venue has to have a liquor license, and the person who's actually distributing it has to have a liquor license. So the person selling it to you, they have to have a license to actually sell it.
What state is that in?
Louisiana.
Gotcha.
Where you can buy alcohol at the age of 15.
Drink before you drive.
Fellas, as far as fundraising, when I shared the information on a high school, but I also told it to Tori, and Tori will attest to it. If y'all have any parents or any kids that has family members that work at places like Walmart, Energy, these big corporations, those companies have what they call volunteerism. If like at Walmart, if your parent of your child or cousin or brother download the application and you sign it and take it to your principal sign it, saying that person actually volunteers with you on Fridays and chaperone your kids certain amount of hours a day, they will donate up to $1,000 per person. Per child in your band. That's like a tax write-off. It's through the volunteering program. I'm online trying to find a link so I can get D to share it for y'all. So that's something y'all can look into. Because I told it to Tori, Tori right here, Baker Walmart gave Tori some money.
They also do product of $1,000, so it may not be financially, but they'll give you a pallet of water or something like that. Actually, Midlothian, which is a time over from us, Walmart gave us product over $1,000, so we just told them to give us water. It was over a pallet.
The donation, like it's so much small stuff that we don't get told to. We don't get told about because we don't have no one that's working on that side in that realm of the area that can come back to our side of the bridge and be like, listen, y'all, we got grants that we can give y'all, but we not getting information. So it's things like that we got to find and share across the board, because a lot of our programs struggle, because we don't have the $1,000 to go to this event or that event. That $1,000 that one child bring in could help the whole band go somewhere where they want to go down the line.
One of the fundraisers that we did, that was one of the last fundraisers we did, was the mattress. Easy fundraiser. You just kind of put the information or advertise that you're gonna have a mattress sale. And you open up your band room and or your gym, and they come in, man. They bring all the products. They sell all the products, and you'll be surprised how much. Well, of course, we know how much a mattress costs, but you'll be surprised how many people in your community need a mattress. At first, I thought it wouldn't work because I saw it was at TMBA or TBA where I saw the advertisement. It was like bands raising like $15,000-$20,000, but you sell. I think we sold maybe 10 mattresses or maybe 20. I'm not sure. I forgot how many it was, but I know we didn't do anything as band
Yeah,
directors.
it was 17, Mr. Young. 17.
It was 17. So I think we made over $3,000 or $4,000 or something like that.
Yeah, we didn't do nothing.
We didn't do nothing. We watched football in the office because they actually did it on a Sunday, and so it was a great fundraiser. I mean, I think it's called Great American Mattress and Sale or something. We don't do the cookie dough or anything else. Actually, our middle school does cookie dough. They sell about 10,000 a piece, or about 10 to 15,000 a piece in cookie dough. But the high school doesn't. And like I said, the mattress is probably the best one because you don't have to do anything. And that's the type of fundraisers I like.
Hey, one more for you like that, Mr. Young. We did this a couple of years ago when we went to we took the band to Disney World. We partnered with one of our local car dealerships. It was a Ram dealership, and they had a thing set up where they would come and bring out like 3 or 4 new trucks, and we did it for 2 basketball games. Well, they basically posted up outside the basketball game. All they had to do was you got people to sign up to do a test drive of these cars that they brought to the school, and for everybody who signed up, we got $10. So I mean, it got to a point where people weren't even really doing the test drives. We were just getting people to sign up, but they was when they sign up, the car dealership wanted that because they got their information, so they can send them stuff in the mail and stuff like that. And I think we made probably like $6,000 off of that in like just those 2 days. And I think we were out there for like about 2 hours each time. Now that might be one. If you never did it before, after that car dealership do it, they might not do it again. But that worked out good for us. And we didn't do nothing except just get people, stand out there, have those kids, get people to come up and sign up.
Hey, man, I have a question for all of the band directors on here. What are you all's recruiting methods as far as getting kids to join your band programs?
Each one bring one. I'm gonna lie. Each one bring one. That's just my thing. When I have those ninth graders that actually decide that they want to come just because, I make sure that they go and bring a friend. That's actually my first step with going with everything, man, because the kids are always the biggest recruiting tool. They're always going to be your biggest recruiting tool, especially with COVID and everything right now, with all these kids that have been sitting home for so long. Man, I just tell the kids, go out and get them. Go out and get them. And bring a friend. Tell your friend come and join the band with you. Of course, you got to have a good product.
We buy Jordans, G Nikes, and
That's that Reed tactic. That's Miguel's student. Miguel's favorite student.
Devon said that.
Oh man, that somebody said Miguel's favorite student.
Yeah.
They trash.
Man, I said, go find me some tuba players. And I said, whoever finds me tuba players, y'all don't have to pay no band fees, and they ain't gonna have to pay no band fees. So hey, I'm doing what I gotta do.
And we talked about it earlier. Your product. I mean, your product is gonna sell itself. You put a good product out there, and kids gonna talk about you. Kids gonna recruit for you. Right. We do, of course, fifth grade, a big fifth grade. We did a band draft day where we brought in all our fifth graders. We tested them, and they got a picture to take. They took a picture with myself saying that they've been drafted to play such and such instrument. I know a lot of you probably heard this story, but we did a band draft day, and it put us ahead of the 8-ball because COVID hit. So when we normally do draft, when we normally do those recruitment things, we normally do them like in April, February, March, April. But we did this actually in December before they did choice sheets and start choosing classes and everything else. And if people in Texas, you know, they do those choice sheets going into 6th grade, going into middle school, and that's a big deal down here. But we did band draft day. We test every student in the 5th grade, so we knew what student was coming up. But it's your product. We have a great product where kids want to be in the band now. You know, we're performing at every elementary school. We're performing at every middle school. Don't just assume because you're performing on Friday nights that they're watching. Don't assume, you know, if you're just performing on Friday nights, they're not watching.
You gotta go to them.
Yeah, you know, you get out in your community, perform, you know, at your elementary schools and so forth, you know, because you're the high school band, so you like a superstar to them. But you know, those are the things that we do. We just try to be as visible as possible. You got to sell that product and make sure that, you know, that product is a good product that kids want to join. And the kids, we don't never talk. When I say we directors, we never talk. We always get our kids to talk when they do those performances and so forth. Like Aaron say, each one, you know, teach one, they gonna bring them. And so that's what we do. And that's what's been working. Our program has been growing. I think we got maybe 700 students across the district in the band program now. And so, you know, my first year, I think I had probably about 60 students in the band. Second year, we was like 80, 90. You know, pre-COVID, we was supposedly at 250 this year.
Man, tell the truth, we at 350. Don't shortchange us.
So that's pre-COVID. With COVID, you know, we'll be smaller. But what has worked is our product going out to every elementary school. And like I said, we were above the 8 ball this year and doing the band draft day.
I got. Go ahead, Mark.
I think it's important to listen to what Brother Young just said, man. He said that he was starting in the 5th grade and the 6th grade. He's the fine arts director now, I believe, but he was the band director as well, too. One thing I'm always harping on is, because I was a middle school band director for what? I don't know, Fraser, but 6 years or so, 5-6 years. So just having that connection with the high school and having them come down and help us, having them come down and, you know, it's hard. We all struggling. So what I try to do is I try to get to every one of my feeders, if all possible, as frequently as often as I can. I send my assistants there. We bring students to go and help with like private lessons and stuff like that. But just establishing a relationship with not only your high school, but your community's middle schools.
Supporting schools.
Right. The feeder schools. He has a unique situation where, like he said, he's one high school in the whole city. We have 2 high schools in our city. But whether you have 100 high schools in your city, I know Mr. Brock has a class period that's off that he demanded, I need to go to my feeder patterns. I need to go to my middle school so I can help out and make sure we recruit. Having a good product, of course, and doing the leg work. A lot of times, if you're not where you need to be, I've never started off where I needed to be. I've always started building a program. So it takes a little bit extra work, even though not negating what we go through, because we go through a lot. We don't have a lot of things, but we have to be willing to get out there and do these things. It may be hard and challenging in everybody's different situation, but we have to go and be willing to do that. And one more thing. I was telling as soon as Javon and Mr. Herrero told me about that fundraiser, I'm on the phone. I'm texting my band parent, and I was like, man, they talking about making 50, 60,000. And she's like, you know, I'm always down, but I ain't doing shit this year. I say, you know what? I'm about to rip you on this interview right now. So I hope she watching. I hope she watching because we're gonna have to get this money.
I was gonna say,
go ahead.
You know, the other side of that is, you know, I always think of it as like you got to sell your program, but you got to sell it to kids and parents. Because sometimes, you know, you got those kids that's on the fence, And you know, selling it to kids, you know, I think I heard Carl Collins say this maybe like in 2012. He said, you know, sheep beget sheep. You know, if you want a sheep, send another one to go get them. You know, so you send kids to go get kids. And so we do all of that stuff. We have, I think me and Mark Ward this year, we went to our middle schools and we visited and we spoke. Of course, we always try and get our older kids to go and talk to their kids, because we at this point, like, it's so many siblings that we done had come through the band. You know, it's like, hey, I know your little brother in the band down there. I need you to go talk to all those kids at TJ. I need to go talk to all the kids at Lincoln. You know, but the other side of that I found is, yes, it's great when we recruit kids. One thing I love doing, like I think Will said, your product is gonna sell itself to a certain degree. You know, when you can bring those kids to the band hall, we did that this year. We brought all the middle school kids into the band hall and had one mass practice. And then we did, they came to a game. So both our middle schools came, we played like 5 songs together. They came to the high school game and then they played for like the whole first half with us. But when you can have that parent night, we didn't get to do it this year, but we normally do it. When you can have that parent night, and what we've been trying to do now is we got so many, we got some kids that, you know, they're in university bands, and we try and get 1 or 2 of those kids to see if they can come out to that parent night. We got some kids that are like I got a former student that's in med school right now. Hey, Eddie, can you come over? We got a parent night. I need you to come speak on behalf of the band. And when you have that witness, and you know, we're in an area now in Port Arthur, it's slowly becoming a Hispanic community. You know, so when I can have one of my Hispanic kids that come out and he in med school and he's speaking in Spanish about what the band did for him and how the band set him up to be in this position and stuff like that. And you know, the parents get to get in there, and we got a handout, and we got it in English, and we got it in Spanish, and we got another one in Vietnamese, because that's the other major population in Port Arthur. We got the one in Vietnamese that I don't know what to say. You know, I'm trusting that them kids did it right and they ain't just put a bunch of cuss words on there. You know, that hits with the parents, because now you can kind of blend some of that cultural divide, because it's me and the parent don't really have a lot to speak about, but that parent want the best for their child. And we know, especially when you're dealing with kids of different cultures, like, I'm gonna just use like Hispanic and Asian kids in particular, like their parents' number one focus once they get to high school is their academics. What is gonna get you to college? So when you can make that case that, hey, the stuff that I'm doing right now, and I always give these parents the guarantee, if you send your child with me for 4 years, I guarantee I can get them a band scholarship. I can't tell you where, but I guarantee you I'll send them with a band scholarship. Right. And that parent here, less money out of my pocket, you know, now those ears perk up a little bit, and it's a little bit easier to sell that parent. So when you got that kid who come that first week, and now he want to quit because it's harder than what he thought it was, now you might have that parent, you know, doing your work for you and say, no, you better get your ass back in there. You got to be with the band. So for me, I think that's been the big turnaround that we figured out maybe about 5 or 6 years ago. Sell the kids, but then once you can sell those parents, it makes it harder for those kids to back out.
Hey, even speaking, you know, going back in my career, early in my career, going into coming when I was at Carter, even at Skyline, you know, Skyline now and Carter, even back then, don't have a true feeder pattern. You know, you may have kids that's in that feeder pattern that you groom for 3 years, and then they go to Booker T, or they went to Townview. So one thing that we did was we stopped looking at it in that aspect of, hey, we grooming these kids and they're going to these other schools across the district. And we just, you know, we made sure that we had those two schools, and those 2 schools for us at the time was Hulsey and Atwell. And so we made sure that we went to Atwell daily. Hulsey and Atwell daily, we, you know, one of us would go to each school and, you know, just ask, what can we help? And so we formed a relationship with those kids. And of course, like Frazier said, you know, some of those kids' parents was like, well, you know, my kid is not going to Carter because of the academics. And, you know, they went to Skyline or so forth. So we did lose kids. Now, I'll be honest, you know, when I got to Skyline, because of my experience at Carter, it was a lot easier for me to, I can say, recruit for the band. And it's because Skyline was that school that anyone in the district mainly can come to. You know, you have the magnet part of, you have the magnet side of it, and you have the regular side of the high school. And so I was able to go into, I would do a lot of clinics across the district for middle school band directors. And that's how I formed a relationship. But I focused on just the same thing on my 2 feeder schools. And those feeder schools at the time, Lang High School, Lang Middle School, and it was Hood Middle School. Then they opened and Rich took Hood away. But I would be there every day. I made a point that I was in in those middle schools every day. And the days that I wasn't, I was doing clinics across the district at other schools. If I had to take a personal day, if you know, I was tell my coworkers, hey, go ahead, work my class or whatever else. But I made an effort to get out there and you know, start forming relationships with certain middle schools, and as well as with those students. And that helped out a lot. You know, again, when I got to Skyline, it was 50 people in the band. When I left, it was about 150, 160. And it was because of the vertical, you know, it was because, you know, because of the vertical alignment that I created with the middle schools and just the relationships that I made across the district. And again, Carter was the same way. You know, Christopher Young, I credit him for teaching me how to sell the program. I mean, you know, he was a car salesman, so he could sell anything. And so, you know, it was just building relationships, vertical alignment, and, you know, like you say, telling them what you can do, and then making those dreams come true. You can tell a kid, hey, I'm gonna get him a scholarship. But then 4 years later, when you actually deliver on that scholarship, you know, it becomes something different.
Right.
And I can tell you that Mr. Young not lying, because I was in his wake when I was at Samuel High School, and man, you go out and try to do these things, and they're like, well, you know, Mr. Martin, I appreciate it, but I'm going to Skyline. So I know he.
I got a question for Derek and William. You know, the average band is between 48 and 96. It fluctuates between like some of the newer programs and like throughout Louisiana and other states. How do y'all maintain such a big program with the structure, with discipline, and moving as one unit on a day-to-day basis from practice to game and things like that? What kind of advice can you give to the band directors that's on this panel today, that going from small band to big bands, and those that are coming out of school? What can you advise you to get them to build a program to get the numbers that you have, like you just explained, that you have over at, I think it's City Hill you at now?
Yeah. I'll let Derek answer that, because he's very consistent. And one thing that if you know Mr. Walker, one thing that you know that he's going to be consistent and so Derek, I don't know if he's able, because I know he's probably on his phone, but I'll let you kind of answer that. You know, how we handle discipline and retention.
The biggest thing you did hit on it was consistency. You know, mean what you say what you mean, and you know, we're real big sticklers with that. I know when I left Baker in the end of, was it 2015, 2016, I came to Texas to work with Will. You know, of course, you know, I had a lot of people thought I was crazy, especially from being a head band director for 15 years and then to go somewhere else and be an assistant. But, you know, I looked at it as an opportunity, number one, to, you know, better myself as a band director, and to, you know, better my home life. You know, of course, you know, my wife wanted to move to Texas anyway, so that was just an easier way to go ahead and make that transition all into one. I know when I first got to Cedar Hill, Will was there the year before with his staff, and I know when I got there, we only had that first year
maybe 80 band students. And we were tough, especially me. I know I was fussing the first day, and the kids looking at Mr. Young like, man, who is this guy and why is he fussing? And it's just because my passion and I care. But, I've been consistent from day one. And the same thing with him, and then we're going to the middle schools and recruiting, and little by little, our numbers have gotten up there. It took us about, let me see, this is starting year 5 for me there. It took a couple of years. I know that first year we had 80. The next year we went to 96. And that year we went to 96, we started implementing some show style things. And then at that time, we had a huge class. That's when we started adding, dance routine, stuff like that. We had a huge class of 6th graders at the middle school. And we said, hey guys, eventually you're going to come to us. And we knew this day for this particular year that we were going to have a huge band because because the middle school started so many 6th graders that year because of what the high school was doing. So we went from 80 to 96 to 128. Last year we had 145. And then this year, it depends on with COVID. The numbers were supposed to be, very close to 250. I kept telling Mr. Young probably like 218. But we've been sending surveys and stuff with COVID, and we still may be able to get 150 piece band, which is a good thing. The senior class we have this year is not even that big. The senior class we just lost was a huge class who really stuck with us. I know we got 7 down at Southern. We have 4 here at the PV. I don't think we had any go to TSU this year. We had a good number go to Langston. We have about 3 or 4 to go to Pine Bluff. So they're pretty much all over. But consistency is the biggest thing. Mean what you say what you mean. Show your face at these middle schools. Kids are just naturally, and again, we're still undersized for anybody we play. Far as when we go to football games, last couple of years, our first game is like Allen High. So our little 100 piece 40 band versus their 700. They're looking at us crazy, but we still, manage to, house out, as we would say. Putting the scores on the field.
Put on the show.
We put on the show. We're not the band. You'll rarely see me post a clip of my band. I'm very terrible when it comes to marketing my program. I'm just the type of person, we kind of do what we do and just kind of go about our business. A lot of people call us a UIL band or whatever. That doesn't bother us. We do have 2 sides of our program, and we have to educate our students. So that consistency, I think, what do you think, Mr. Young? I know I said a lot.
I said this, when I talk about consistency, Mr. Walker, if he kicked you out the band, that's it. It's no come and talk to Mr. Young or anything else. I mean, we're very consistent. Our no means no. Our yes means yes. And even when we go down to the middle school, kids, when we walk in the room, they know that we expect for them to, act a certain way. And when we say act a certain way, respect the craft. If someone's on the podium, you're not talking. And that's from the middle school on up. That we're immediately demanding that type of respect. It's not
the balcony.
It's not
okay.
Thank you. Yeah, it's not a different or a change when you come to the high school. Mr. Walker is one little boy that could play, can actually play. Was in the middle school. Mr. Walker, he was talking too much. Walker said, "You will not be in a high school band." And this kid is coming up this year thinking he's going to be in a high school band. And I think he's recently just stopped receiving the emails or stopped responding back because of his behavior in the middle school. It's one thing to talk, to have fun and everything else. But when we say, hey, let's get down to business and we're working on fundamentals or whatever it may be, that talking cease. And so we're consistent with that on the high school level, and we're consistent with that in the middle school level. And so, that's what you have to be. If you're letting kids, I say put them out, or if you're putting kids out and then next week you're letting them in, you didn't just lost your credibility, because they're gonna be like, well,
Right.
he was say smoking. He was smoking. They knew he was smoking. They put him out, but we playing our rival school this week, so they're gonna let him back in. That won't happen. That won't, if we think real hard when we sometimes, we say, hey, this kid broke this violation, our rule is no alcohol, no drugs, or anything in school. In school or anything, we catch you, you're out. I was in, but we've been like that throughout our whole career. I had some kids on a trip one time when I first got to Skyline, my first year. I took them down to Louisiana, to New Orleans. And we had 3 guys that were smoking in a room. 4 guys. It was 4 guys in the room. 3 of them was trumpet players. And I only had 6 trumpets. I sent them home. And we had 2 concert band performances. So we got a ballroom in the concert. We got a ballroom in the hotel, and we worked till late at night. Woke up early in the morning. Went to Charlie Brooks' school. I think he was at Martin Luther King at the time. We worked there. Went to Southern University. We worked there, and then we did the performance. The performance came out great because the kids that were, days to train them, but they knew our expectations.
I'll tell you a funny story. With my transition to Baker after Kedrick, and what was that, 14, 13, 14? I can't remember. But anyway, I was a helping hand pretty much to that program for years, pretty much since Ked had been there. I pretty much always go to the practices or whatever, because at that particular time, I think I was at teaching at a private school. And, we didn't have battle of bands. We didn't have any of those things. So I didn't have to, pretty much worry about, that aspect of the program anymore. So I would often come over there and then, work his concert band, those type of things. I had a relationship with those kids. But as soon as Kedrick was gone and I was named the band director, you some of those same kids were not, hey, Mr. Taylor not here, I'm not going to be in the band no more. And I said, hey, band camp is this, boom, 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 boom. And you need to be here or you're not going to be in the band. Guess what? They didn't come, and I kept on going. And I vowed, I said, hey, you don't come, you're not going to be in the band. And they were not in the band. Kedrick left me about 102 kids. And I think by the first game, maybe after that first week, man, about 30, 40 of them didn't never come or quit. And mainly because I was just a different type of disciplinarian. Ked was stern, but I was stern to another level. And I just really didn't bend. Ricky will tell you that. Ricky had been around me for years. And it got to the fact where, I recruited my own kids. And by the first game, we still had about 85 in the band. And then, we had a good product. And then those kids wanted to come back. There was a time that I could have been and could have had a 128-piece program. And I just didn't bend. And I didn't care. But, that's my personality. That's me. You can be, and I'm talking about some kids who could really play, who could have really benefited the program even more. And I bit the bullet. I think I had that conversation with Javon. I was like, hey, I'm not letting them back. Ked took over for me after I left Jackson in 2006. And it was always funny. I said, hey, Ked, this is a list of kids that I kicked out. Now I didn't let them back because, I just want to stick to my guns. But you can probably give them a chance and get back. So that's why when Ked got there, that's why that band from Jackson went from 32 to 40 to 64 to 70 real fast. Just because there was so many kids walking around the school that I had them put out. I'm not bragging about that because some kids need a second chance. But the way I've kind of ran my program, if you get on my bad side, hey, that's just the end for me. And I'm just really stubborn when it comes to that.
But yeah, and it just goes down, Ricky, to answer your question, it just goes down for us being consistent in all levels that we have. I mean, I walk away the last 2 years, last 2-3 years, I've been, fine arts coordinator in both shoes, sitting in two shoes. So many times I have to, go to a meeting. When I leave and go to a meeting, Mr. Walker is in charge. I can't even get to the fence. Them jokers are doing pushing up the earth because someone has started talking immediately after Mr. Young has left the field. And so, I don't know why they thought or think that it was okay to start talking or doing whatever else. But, he's very consistent, because anytime, those things happen, we are consistently doing discipline and doing what we need to do to make sure that we have that behavior, or I don't want to say behavior, or that mindset, that hey, when we're in rehearsal, these are things that need to happen.
Right. No one talks in rehearsal. That is my biggest pet peeve, and it's always been that way. I know poor lady, what was her name? She was a principal. She came in the band room one day, and I just started going off on Chris Young's son. And man, he's an awesome student. He's in Magnesia now. And I think he just asked the little kid for a pencil. And I went on a rant for about 20, 30 minutes and asking, why is somebody's talking in my class? And she told Mr. Young, I think we need to check on that new guy because I think he's a little off, huh? What was her name, Mr. Young?
I don't know. She just lasted a year.
That's called HIPAA.
I see Mr. Kennedy.
Yeah, shout out to Deontay Kennedy. What's up, man? I think he got his mic off.
What's going on, brothers? How y'all doing?
Good, man. How you doing?
Man, I'm doing great. I'm sorry I went on early. I was asleep, man. I had a long day today and decided to take a nap and woke up and the sun was down. So you know how COVID is.
Right.
I'll be up all night.
Right. I'm gonna use that. Just write some music. That's what I do. I take the Kanye West approach. Stay in the lab. When everybody else sleep, work harder. When you up, work even harder. So
right. So Deontay, man, what's the music scene out there where you are in Tennessee? You are in Nashville, right, or Memphis?
No, I'm in Memphis. Believe it or not, the demographics here has shifted tremendously for the benefit of the urban culture. I believe at one point it started dying away because the middle schools and the feeder programs were falling apart. So the level of growth were dependent upon the high school director. Over the past 4 years, I've been here too, but they said over the past 4, it's been an increase of flux in music directors. So that's helped tremendously with the feeder programs at a lot of schools. We have a really good fine arts director. His name is Dr. Drew Davis, and he's been able to provide instruments. The district itself has a warehouse. So a lot of the amenities that a lot of guys is facing, when I came here, because I went to Detroit, I was at Detroit for 2 years, but coming here, I had a lot of things that I didn't have in Detroit. An instrument warehouse, a fine arts director that was willing to put in the work. And then they got this thing in Memphis where if you're doing work, then you got a better chance of getting new equipment. So I came here with the notion to get my kids out as immediately. So it's really good here. A lot of the bands are battling. You got your WSBOA, one of the band directors, shout out to Ali Liddell. He's the band director of Central, Superior Winning Band, First Place Band. He's over the NAFNI here association here in Memphis. And with him being a Black guy, that helps tremendously with understanding the culture and demographics. Then you got University of Memphis. So it's been a good spectrum of learning here for me. And as for the kids, it's Memphis. It's not too far from everyone. So I've been able to get into battles that I wasn't able to in Detroit. So I personally like it. I think it's growing, and I don't think it's going to stop growing anytime soon, unless COVID changes otherwise, but I don't see it stop growing.
Okay. So what's some of your recruiting methods?
Huh?
what's some of your recruiting methods as far as getting kids to join your program?
Oh, so getting kids to join my band, man, it's actually been simple. So in the school, I started with about 12 kids in the program. And my first approach is I believe if you're someone that they want to be around, then they choose to be around. So my first method in recruitment was not looking above the kids, not looking like, with being in a hood school. I'm not about that. My first initial day, I came in there with a suit and tie, but I didn't wear the suit and tie every day because these are some thug kids. These are some kids that's doing everything. So every now and then I wore my Jordans. And then, so I was up to date in current things, and that would create conversations with, oh, you know about the retro one. So now at that point, I'm gravitating to kids that like a certain thing. So I knew then that presentation meant something. Recruitment is about what you display your kids. If a kid is in cheap tracksuits, then how are you going to get kids to be interested in your band? So I knew that I wanted to have my kids in name brand apparel. This is before the plan even that got involved. Before I told them I can play the note, I'm telling them that they're going to look good. I'm telling them that they're going to have trips. I can use an example. I'm telling them that there's a bathroom on the bus. You know what I'm saying? Because there's some kids who never know that there's a bathroom on the bus, that you can take a trip and go use the bathroom, giving them that metaphor. So I apply that concept. Then I apply the method of actually being able to teach. After I got a kid feeling that, all right, being in this band, I'm going to look good. I'm going to do things. Now I tell them that I'm going to teach them. I don't tell them that they're going to learn. I tell them I'm going to take the time and sit there and teach them. I tell them I'm going to work in with them day out. I'm telling them that I'm going to be there for them in their normal problems. I give them the reassurance that I'm going to be more than just a teacher. I'm going to be a mentor. I'm going to be a father figure. I'm going to be a friend. And those things work for me because it's genuine. You get what I'm saying? So a lot of people say it and it's not genuine, and it shows, and kids can see the truth within you than anything. So I do that. And once that happens, I create a small core of kids, and then we infiltrate the culture of the school. So I'm making sure I'm listening to what the kids in the school like to hear, what they like to play. I take the band from being a lame group of kids to the lame kids are the popular kids. The lame kids are your ambassador. Lame kids are traveling. The lame kids is doing this. Why are y'all chasing trying to be a hood celebrity when you can be a celebrity just by being in band? You know what I'm saying? One of my kids, they always take this approach. You sit there, they do a lot of checking or Josing in some states or Bacon in Detroit where the kids roast each other. And I tell my kids all the time, how y'all sitting here getting roasted by kids who can't read? You get what I'm saying? So I eliminate that ideology in a school of to be popular is to be stupid. No, to be popular is to be smart. To be a part of something that's going to acquire you in college. So I empower the children with making sure they feel more successful. Once you create that culture and establish that, then the recruitment for the city been simple, man. I do stuff like Mardi Gras, constantly keep the program in kids' mouth, not my own, but the parents. A lot of band directors think it's about appealing to the kids. It's really about appealing to those parents. Those parents have those conversations at the bar when they do that drinking, or when they meet up at church, or if they see so-and-so at the store when they're shopping. Oh, girl, my kid is in this man Kennedy band and they doing this and they just came back from here. That is a big sense of recruitment. So, I do it in that regards. I take trips that kids are going to want to be a part of. And I didn't mean to be long-winded, but I was just trying to give all my synopses at once because I missed a lot of conversation. And, so that's my approach on it.
And
yeah, go ahead, Rick.
William, he was at my high school. Then he went to Scarborough. Now he's actually is in what William went? William Allen.
I'm right here.
Yeah, he's in Dallas right now. Man, how has the transition from Houston to Dallas been with the program? I seen your logo, I seen your polo. You up there around the money team. Derek and William, the money team. Man. So how's the Dallas scene treating you?
Ricky, hey, we ain't no money team, man.
Stop lying, Ricky. Stop lying.
Man, I could tell you, like, just coming from Houston, well, just what you said earlier. Coming from Capital High School in Baton Rouge, and then transitioning from Louisiana to Texas, it was a very big difference. And coming from Texas, born and raised and stuff like that, UIL was the stuff that we had to meet up as far as requirements as far as in Texas. If you don't do UIL, you can't really move around or get in good positions without having those good scores and participating and stuff like that. So right now in Dallas, this is actually my first job without having to teach like choir or any type of fine art class and stuff like that. And Dallas is very well structured versus with Houston, it's pretty much you have an option whether or not you want to do UIL or not. In Dallas, it's mandatory for you to do it, so it sets the expectations. And so that gives me a drive to like meet those goals and better myself, and not just only my program and stuff like that, but just the whole overscope of the culture of the school at South Oak Cliff in Dallas, Texas. So that transition from Houston to Dallas it's a growing process. I'm surrounded by band directors that love what they do. You know, shout out to Cedar Hill directors. You know, we jukes and stuff like that. And shout out to Mr. Brock over there at Carter High School. He's been very helpful as well, and other directors around Dallas that welcome me in to the district and just getting formatted with the rules and stuff like that and just being successful. So the transition is been great.
Okay, man, I have a question for all the band directors on here. How would you all describe your writing style as far as music for your band programs?
I can look. I'm gonna tell you like this. I don't write for fantasy band.
Who talking?
This is more talking. I don't write for fantasy band. And what I mean by that is sometimes as directors we have egos and we want to write and put our best, you know, whatever it is. But I usually write right above where my kids are. But I write for my band. If my baritones can only play certain stuff at this time, of course I'm gonna strive to get them to play it. But I'm gonna do that through the music. I teach through my music. So a lot of times, especially you know, I'm watching some stuff, man, on the internet, man, with these arrangement battles. These kids are doing some amazing things, man. I can't even lie. But I will also say that my band couldn't play most of it. Just by like Kennedy say, by the third song, they'll just be gone. So what I try to do is I try to look at my instrumentation, what I have, and then go from and the skill level they are. You don't want to write something that's too easy. You don't want to arrange something that's going to bore the kids, but you also don't want to put the kids in a situation where they're not going to be successful. You challenge them, of course. Never, you know, you write a little bit above what their level is, so you can teach through that music and they can rise up to those levels. But a lot of times you got to there's arrangements that I just, you know, I want to play, but I'm against watering down arrangements as well. So I'll teach them what they need to know to play what we have to do. Otherwise, we're not necessarily going to play that. So I have a stack of arrangements, you know, books of arrangements, and the kids are like, whoa, can we play this? Can we play this? So I say, okay, well, you know, do you know your D flat concert scale, or do you know this one is written in B natural? And I wouldn't use it, you know, you change keys or whatever sometimes, but can you do that? No. Well, can you teach me, Mr. Martin? Oh yeah, we can do that. And then once they learn it, then we'll go for it. But I always like to write for the reality of my situation. I might not. There might be a Mr. Simmons kind of gives us arrangements sometimes from Southern. I called Mr. Frazier one time. He had a good arrangement of what's that song? Oh man, I can't even remember right now. I'm drawing a blank, but it was a song out of New Orleans that he played on the field. It's like a love song.
Halfway.
Halfway. That's what it was. Frazier had a good arrangement of Halfway, and I was going to Beaumont for my first year. And then I said, man, let me get that. And he said, man, yeah, you got it. But then I was looking at it. I was looking at my band. I look at my band. I was like, oh man, I don't think we're gonna be able to do this one just yet. You know, so I have to keep that in mind. Even though I went to Texas Southern, we might not be able to play exactly what Texas Southern plays. But I can use the music to teach them to get to that place.
Yeah, definitely. The key is to write for your band. That's the biggest thing, and that's the biggest key to everything, to make sure your band sounds good. And as long as you write for your band, for your instrumentation, for the skill level of your students, to push them to get better, use it as a teaching tool, like you said, I think you'll be all right.
Yeah, I agree with that. You know, I'm a Southern University grad, but it's definitely very, you know, palpable to me. We can't play most of the stuff Southern play, and I have to explain this to people sometimes. Sometimes you trying to emulate these university bands. You don't have the instrumentation they have. You don't necessarily have the level of students that they have. Like, one thing I always have to tell my kids is when you have a high school kid, a high school, let's say baritone section, you might have, if you got a strong section, one or two kids that can really play all of that stuff that Southern might play. Well, if you got 5 baritones, what about the other 3? And so when you're looking at these university bands, you're looking at a Jackson State or Southern and stuff like that. A lot of those kids, even the kid at the end of the row, was the section leader at his school. Now it might be different levels of those schools, right? One the kid at the front of the row might have been at a top ranked high school. The other one maybe not so much. But you're dealing with a different caliber of kid. So it's not to say that your band cannot aspire to play some of that stuff, but when you arrange, that's the luxury of arranging. You can arrange for your specific needs. And I think a lot of time, the mistake a lot of high school band directors make is trying to play stuff that was written for a band, and you don't have the resources in terms of human resources to play that. You don't have those F horns where you got 10 of them going across and they can play those high C's consistently, right? You don't have 20 tubas who could play those F's consistently like that. You got to write for what you have, So for me, if I know like this past year, we had a young French horn section. So I'm not going to do nothing to expose my French horns. Now, I do want to write as the year goes on to try to entice them to do better, right? So maybe the highest note I was putting on there at the beginning of the year might have been an F on some of the stuff I was writing. Well, now I might want to creep into, sneaking some G's and some A flats and some A's in there. But I think that's very important that you don't, that could be just as detrimental to your band's success if you trying to push music on them that they can't execute well, and then now they don't feel good about it. So I'd rather take it slower, give them stuff that they can play right for a way that makes them feel good about what they're doing, and then try to, constantly up that ante, constantly try to, add a little bit more in there to kind of entice them to do more as they get better.
For me, so it's two composites. It's two things. And the first thing would be I wholeheartedly agree with everything that y'all are saying, but I think what the problem that a lot of band directors face is that when we say write for your group, they don't know how. So I would say the things that I do to write for my group, I use a lot of monophonic texture. I stay away from polyphonic pieces too much where there's a lot of complexity, a lot of main melodies where the counter melody is just as prominent as the main melody. I stay clear of those things until the kids are at a point where each section can play confidently. So that's the biggest thing. When you're arranging your music for your high school, you got to display it in a way where you as a director understand what sounds good, what is appealing. And then you have to composite the music. The reason why I use monophonic texture, because it means unison. So if I got more than one section playing a specific line, that's more teaching that happens amongst each other. It's a quicker learning rate. The confidence in the players tends to develop more, and then you get an overall better sound. So that's my approach for my kids. It's not really it can be any song. Every song has a melody, every song has a chorus, and every song has bass line. I think voicing with high school makes a big part. Like he was saying before, if you got a new French horn section, of course you want to keep them on Fs, and you work their way to that G, and you do it in steps and where the kid asks for more, not where you're forcing more. That you can hear it when they play. They'll start itching for more notes. They'll start wanting to do more. They'll start coming to you at the end of practice saying, look what I can do. I always tell my kids, or the only time I ever play a song from a college is when my kids start playing it in the band room and I'm not there, because that lets me know that they've applied two things. They've applied using their ear. They've also applied leadership skills because they got together and did this on themselves. So now I'm proud of them for several things. And it's like, if I give it to them, they're going to want it more. So I always, for me, you gotta, like y'all said, you gotta keep the kids in a position where they're enticed to want more. And then you gotta be writing in a way that it always brings about the best out the group. So that's what I use. I use a lot of monophonic texture. I stay clear of multiple melodies, multiple chord structures, and things like that. I try to keep it as simple as possible with whatever is current that they're seeing on YouTube now. That's what I do for my kids.
I do the same type things with what everybody. I guess I'm kind of.
Oh, what's up, Brock?
What's up with it, bro? I guess I'm kind of piggybacking on what everybody, really kind of said, because I do those things as well. But not only do I know how to write for my program, but it's really on the level of what are you teaching them with what you're writing. On certain stuff, if I'm doing more things that's probably monotonic, as in what Deontay was saying, there's probably rap songs. But yet, I'm also I tell Mr. Martin all the time, I always want my music to sound good. Like whatever it is, I want it to sound good, regardless of if you like it, if you don't like it, if you feel like it's this, it's that. I want it to sound good. So I do my best in whatever I can, whether it's that switching keys on something. And and knowing what keys, okay, well, if we doing so much of this, what keys tire your group out? So to the point that sometimes you might have a good song, but you might choose to play it at the wrong time because of, certain keys of how that takes you through. So I'll try to I try to make sure that everybody accent each other. But yet, right now I'm kind of real big on really trying to make sure bring back trumpets, because right now it just seems like trumpets is kind of dying out. One thing, even with my first year being at Carter, like I told my trumpets that I used the analogy of Beyonce and Michelle and Kelly. Like, yeah, everybody loves Michelle and Kelly, but they coming to see Beyonce. Trumpets, y'all are Beyonce. It's cool that we got Michelle and Kelly, but yeah, y'all must always stand strong. So at least 90% of my music that I really write for them when it's coming more so for marching band, it's gonna be somewhere where the trumpets must stand alone. You're the voice of the band. I mean, yes, there are times to where we will bring folks on to support them, but yet they must build the mentality of what a trumpet player is. And honestly, to me, that was really one of the hardest things that I'm really just, as I'm looking back on my years of teaching and still learning as I go right now, is that mentality is one of the hardest things to really teach. It's like, it's teaching, the notes, of course, it's also with the student and what they put into it for them, to get out of what we are teaching them. But the mentality of what a trumpet player does, of what a mellophone player does, of what a tuba player is supposed to do, that's something very hard, because that, to me, there's the difference, because I can listen to different bands and I can tell the difference of a band who's playing music, because we all know you can play and you can sound good, you can do this, and a band who feels what they play and that pays attention to, like it's a difference from playing how they play. So and to me, I can tell those bands who have like that mentality. Like I give that to Mr. Frazier's band, Mr. What's the name? Hero band. Their mental, like I really see, like I can tell that those people are teaching mentality to their students. Not saying that other people don't, but just trying to write for the band. Not only that, but I'm writing my music just like what other folks have said, build them and to grow them, but also writing my music to teach them mentality as well as the fundamental things that we are teaching them. So before we go into high stuff, what baritones and mellophones want to do, well, how about you lay a foundation of what your instrument's supposed to be? Then we can talk about playing B flats and C's. But a lot of times that I really don't, and I really get on my students about, you want to play that stuff that's up there, but yet for you to do what your horn is supposed to do, you're not doing that. So therefore, as a band director, just like I can't think of his name, the assistant band director at City Hill, like No, I'm real headstrong about that discipline. It's like I don't care how you feel. I don't care what's going on, what the trends may be. I don't care what you're watching on YouTube. It's just a certain level of music that, as a band director, whoever that you are, that you just can't let. Okay, I understand, but you got to do what music was first. As my band director used to say, you got to bake the cake before you put the icing on it, unless you're just gonna be just and just eat the icing. You know, folks like cake with icing on it. So, you know, trying to teach those mentalities so I can not only, you know, let them do the things that they want to do, but yet build a strong musicianship so that ultimately we can get them in college so that they get a college scholarship. My bad, I was kind of long.
YouTube is the gift and the curse.
Oh man, hey, I wish I came up in that strong YouTube era, Mr. Frazier, because I would have been way better than what I was.
Yeah, it's the gift and the curse. Is
man,
you got kids who stay interested, but then they want to do everything they see on YouTube, and it's, you know, then you got to go. Sometimes it's counterproductive.
Right, because you got to go back and break bad habits, and you know,
right,
and that's
Mr. Washington. I see Mr. Washington.
Yeah, I was about to say, I see Mr. Washington joined in.
Reginald
man himself.
You know.
Oh yeah.
No,
I was just about to say, you know, looking across the screen when he asked that question, he said about arranging. I wasn't gonna say nothing. And I saw Mr. Washington came in before Mr. Washington. I think me and Mr. Walker was probably the elders of the and you know, Ricky, Ricky probably know about, and I know Reg knows about the arrangements that I've done in the past, and of course, Mr.
Hey,
Walker.
hold on. Yeah. Don't be telling my age, bro.
But what I will say is that everybody said, you know, exactly the same thing, but Finale has spoiled these kids. Well, just like what Martin said, you know, you have these fantasy bands now. Yeah, these fantasy bands, and you know, you're writing, you like Brock said, you know, you're writing things that the horn cannot do, or the horn was not. Let me not say that the horn cannot do what the horn was not made to do. You have to know the range of the instrument. You have to know the range of the instrument, the characteristic sound of the instrument. You know, you have baritone sounding like elephants. You have tubas sounding like pigs, because you're trying to get them to do things that the horn was not made to do. And so when to answer the question, when I used to arrange, because I actually, you know, I don't arrange anymore. But it's, you know, different level right now. I'm just on a different level.
You big man now.
Yeah.
He lying. He lying. He wrote 2 songs last week.
You don't got time for that.
Hey, look, I started playing on
2 songs last week.
Look,
I
started playing on the piano yesterday, and I walked away. But you know, the thing about it is, you know, I write for color. I write for color. I write for you know, make sure that you know, I'll do counter melodies and so forth. But I want my band to have a nice dark sound, a nice dark color. I mean, a nice color. I'm not big about range. I'm not big about let's go zoo. As some people may say, you know, I'm not big about that. I want it to sound good. Well, I know it's gonna sound good. Any arrangement that we play, because I'm not gonna allow them to play with a bad tone or anything else. But when I'm writing my arrangements, I'm thinking about the strengths of my band. I'm thinking about what each member can do, what each section can do, and then, you know, I go from there. I break it down. If I know that, hey, if I put this instrument, I know the tendencies of each horn. So I know the tendency of you know, if I start using certain chords, what note will be out of tune, how bad out of tune it will be. I know the tendency of each note on a horn, where it may that note may be sharp or may fat. So that all goes into my arrangement. to answer the question.
I have a question. I have a question for Mr. Washington.
Man, Mr. Washington, man.
Man, cut it out.
In a long time.
How you doing, Mr. Reginald?
Man, I'm doing all right. Actually, I've been on this call for the longest. I just was on my phone and switched to my computer because it was going out.
All right. This is my question. How does Westbury High School music department? Oh, Derek told me to call you OG. All right, OG.
For real.
Hey, look, how do you sustain a consistent program year in, year out? When you see Westbury, you know you're getting quality in the medium band division from your program. How do you sustain that program in a hard hit fine art city like Houston, where everybody else is struggling, and you sitting up there just year in, year out? How are you maintaining that band culture at Westbury?
That's probably one of the I guess the easiest way for me to answer that is the kids are going to do it regardless. So my expectation is the 12th graders that leave always say the band is going to go down. Everybody is a band that experience this, especially in high school. When your seniors leave, the first thing they're going to say is, oh man, the band is going to be trash. Well, what you do is, for me, what I've always done is I've always separated my freshmen from everybody else. When I first got to Westbury, the first thing I did was I separated my freshmen from everything. There were a couple of sophomores that were in the band that wanted to do it, but mostly it was the freshmen. So they didn't know anything about band. They didn't know anything about what the band was. So what I did was I secluded them from the 12th graders. 12th graders were gone. I gave myself 2 years to flip that whole program around mentally, because if you can't affect them and change their perspective on everything they're going to be doing, then your band program is going to be stuck with just 12th grade, and that 12th grade mentality is going to leave. So basically what I did was I put them on their own bus, and I poisoned their minds of what I wanted them to be. So that whole year, I just kind of, whatever my seniors were doing, I kind of just sheltered them away from it, even though it was a whole band thing. I just basically said, no, I'm just gonna keep y'all away from them altogether. So my seniors couldn't say nothing to them. I wouldn't let them talk to them, and I would just poison the kids' minds. And I would show them all the bad stuff that they were doing that I didn't want them to do, so they could see it for themselves, so I ain't lying. So the next year, I did the same thing, except this time now I got my sophomores, those couple of sophomores that first year I was there, now they got sophomores, juniors, and freshmen that doing what I want them to do and thinking the way I want to think. And so now you only have left are those juniors that year when you first got there. Now they're seniors. So now you got 75% of your band thinking the way you want them to, doing exactly what you want them to. And so from that point on, when I got to that point, now you got a couple of 12th graders in there trying to do whatever. But as long as your discipline is where it's supposed to be and not making sure that they running the band program, is good. So that third year, that whole band program is exactly like I want, mentally. Now, they're not there where they, making the music and doing that stuff, but I want them to understand that hard work pays off. So a lot of times it's small things, like when we work out and exercise and stuff, I do it. I'm working out with them. So what happens is now they got to keep up with me. So every single year we do band camp, I bust my behind right before the end of the school year, and I come in and I do all that stuff with them. So I'm not out there just telling them, they got to keep up with it. So the only thing I'm doing is I'm getting healed mentally. So once I get in there and I understand how to do it, then I can do whatever I want to. Then you can start telling them how you're supposed to be playing, what the music is supposed to sound like. I poison their minds with DCI. A lot of people don't know it, but man, I'm telling you, for me, DCI is the perfect match for what we do, because we want that power. We want that. I mean, anybody that's been in front of a DCI group, the first thing you do is say, yeah, it ain't that big. But then as soon as you step in front of them, you're just like, holy Jesus, how do they do it? So I just want them to understand what good sound, what music is supposed to sound like. So I consistently play music, because if you think about it, these kids ain't gonna listen to that stuff on their own. Who's going to go out and listen to Shostakovich or Beethoven or Bach or Brahms? None of these kids are going to do it. So what I do is I do it subliminally. I play it in the band room all the time. I have it going on over here, doing this, doing that, putting stuff in front of them. I send them individually stuff. Then I'll make sure that I listen to the stuff that they listen to. And I don't push a whole lot of rap music. If you hear my band program, we're not gonna play a whole lot of rap. We never have, we never will. Because there's not a lot of music in rap. I mean, you gotta find those rap songs that have music in them. So we play a lot of music and we push it. And so from that point on, I just poison my kids' minds that music is beautiful in all of it. So the more we do it, it's just year after year after year, they understand what it is. And the last thing is, every band program is different that we do, every single one. So this year's band is not last year's band. So all the accolades that you won, that's not this year's band. So why are you sitting up here trying to ride the coattails of everybody else before you? You've done absolutely nothing for your band program. So the only way you're going to be able to do it is to rise above it. And so every year I get those freshmen, those sophomores, and those juniors so the next year, now they know they got to step up. So now they're competing against each other, doing all this other stuff. And so it just creates that whole, I guess, mentality of just next man up.
Culture.
Yeah, pretty much.
And man, somebody asked the other day, we had Mr. Alex, what's Alex's last name? Bashir? Bashay?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. He asked me some things that I thought could help the music scene in Houston. What do you see as a band director for how long you been a band director in Houston, Mr. Reginald?
Well, I was 4 years. I was at Ball High School for 4 years, so that really don't count. That ain't Houston. I've been at Westbury. This is my 15th year at Westbury.
Wow.
Yeah.
15?
15. This one coming up.
OG. That's the OG.
Man, that man.
But hold on. I never intended to be at Westbury this long at all. As a matter
God
of fact,
wanted you there.
It be like that.
Yeah, exactly. It just kind of happened.
God wanted you there.
Yeah, and now we got a new band room.
So you've been at Westbury 15 years. In the Houston area, you're like the godfather of bands.
That would be Mr. Woodson.
Well,
yeah.
Mr. Woodson is Sterling.
Mr. Woodson at Sterling is oh man.
Mr. Woodson.
His kids are always great.
Yes, I don't give a
okay.
Man, Mr. Woodson can have 5 people. They're gonna sound good. I promise you. You better make sure you have your stuff together when you go with Mr. Woodson. That's no joke. Mr. Woodson is Sterling.
But when you say Houston, everybody says Westbury. Westbury gonna be mentioned in the Houston. When you say Houston, the southeast region of Texas, Westbury gonna be mentioned just like Port Arthur, just like Beaumont United, just like Alto. Those programs gonna be mentioned. So what my question is to the people that are watching from the greater Houston area, as a band director in Houston, what things do you think need to be implied to bring those band programs back to the scene to be relevant again? Because at one time, Houston was like New Orleans. Didn't nobody want to go there and battle those schools. Now it's schools now that's going to Houston for battle bands that wouldn't go went back in those days when Thornton was at the Willow Ridge, the Gardens at Smiley. What can you see those directors coming together in the city of Houston to bring the culture back up the part to be able to compete with the Port Arthur Memorials, with the Beaumont Uniteds, with the Cedar Hills, with the Skyline? What needs to be done in the inner city of Houston?
Feeder programs going up. Going like having vertical alignment from middle school to high school. The biggest issue with Houston is there is no feeder system. There's only in HISD, let me put it that way, in HISD, there's only one school that has like a whole entire feeder system, and that's Westside High School. The 2 middle schools that they have, Briar Forest and Paul Revere, about 98% of those kids go to Westside High School from both of those schools. There is no other school, no other comprehensive high school in Houston that has that. So we all have to kind of like, the kids go wherever they want to go. So that becomes an issue and it's a problem. There's another reason is the issues in Houston it's such a metropolitan city that kids have other stuff to do. Band is not easy, it's hard. Their cell phones are easy. So they can go do this and do that, and they can kind of go around. When you kind of like out in other places, kids may not have that much to do. But if I can get on Metro and go over here and do this, then I'm gonna do that. So that's the issue. So the only thing I can say is the biggest issue I think is if the guys from HISD particularly, it's about the product. It's about being able to kind of work that community and work that neighborhood and get those people on board to get behind that band program. And that's kind of the biggest issue that we have, because we all face different situations where we are. Like where William Allen was when he was over there at Scarborough. William was doing an excellent job in Scarborough. But some of the issues that he was dealing with were people, his principal and some people in that community, they wanted a core style band. They didn't want what he was doing. You know, so it became an issue for him in fighting certain things. A lot of it is scheduling in the classrooms where they got to teach general music all day and doing all this other stuff. And there's a lot of different issues that, you know, that create these things. And it's, if you can nail down the scheduling aspect of it when it comes to not teaching so many general music classes and actually teaching band classes in the school. And then if you can actually get the feeder programs in the middle schools to actually feed the actual high schools, it would get a whole lot better in Houston like that. It would.
All right. And I have a question. Mm-hmm. When will we get to see the Westbury band on the field in Louisiana at Battle of the Bands?
Man, I would absolutely love to do that. The only problem is, well, it costs so much money. Buses ain't free. And the budgets that we have, believe it or not, I've been in Westbury for this is my 15th year. I've never had a budget. Never.
Wow.
Dang.
But you over there in the rich part of Houston. You're in Bel Air.
No. Bel Air is one side, but I'm not in it. I've never had a budget since I've been in Westbury. Never. The last budget I had was about house.
Y'all ain't pay attention. William was walking through his house in his man cave with 20-foot ceilings flexing on us tonight, man.
Well, see, that's the thing. But
that man did flex on us real quick, like though.
Hey, he walked through there like, look, he did it so eagerly. He was walking with the phone like this.
I'm talking about he gave us.
He had the big AC on his chest, walking like this, like.
That man gave us a tour.
Quick
hey,
tour, huh?
So look, if y'all know his house got 20-foot ceiling, man, how many square feet is that band room? 100,000?
No, man, that joke is still on a golf course.
I've never been inside of that band house before.
Stop lying.
Hey, but let me say this, because I think a lot of people got misconception when they think about how Texas bands are funded. Like, you got some programs, or you got some areas where bands are funded really well, but you got other programs where you in dire straits. You know, you struggling for everything you got. And I think what a lot of times people don't realize what makes it hard is you could be in an area where you struggling with your finances. You don't have the same kind of resources. You don't have the same access to having, maybe as many staff members as you need. And I think what trips a lot of people, they don't realize, like, there's still a lot of demand sometimes from your district to hit certain benchmarks. And if you don't hit those benchmarks, then you held liable. So then that turns into a lot of turnover. And so when you start looking at bands in certain areas where you say, well, man, at one time, the bands in this area were cranking out, these monsters. But then you have to look at, you put in these positions sometimes where, like, Derek just put on here, if you get a 3 and seated here, you get 5. So what does that do when you in these situations where, and I always tell people, like, people think even if you got funded, it's stuff that come with that too. Because now if you got the money, you better have some results coming behind that, but you got a lot of guys who are in air. Like, I know Carter is an area that, you got a lot of people in poverty. South Oak Cliff is an area you got a lot of people in poverty. Port Arthur is an area we got a lot of kids in like right now. Me and Mark been doing our virtual band camp, and we got at least a third of our kids who haven't been present because they parent lost a job or they parent don't have a job because of COVID. So now they working, trying to help support their family. So, you know, but then yet and still, when it's time for a football game, they still looking for the band. You know, so I think that's an issue a lot of time that people don't realize goes on. Whereas maybe in some areas where you may not have the things that you need, but there may not be you know, pressure on you to do certain stuff, or there may not be pressure for you to attend certain things that's tied to your job. And a lot of guys are out here and they are in those situations where they don't have that stuff. And then they still telling them, well, you know, this your third year getting a 2. It's time for us to look for somebody else, you know. So that creates turnover. And then when you have turnover, you got inconsistency. And then when you got inconsistency, then you got programs that used to be legendary and they barely hanging on.
Right.
Yeah, I worked in,
put that focus.
I worked in
Okay,
all areas. I worked in Louisiana. I worked in Dallas. I worked in, you know, I'm now in Cedar Hill, and that is totally correct. You know, I gave a budget to William Johnson. You know, this year we opened up a program in his school full time.
He gave a budget.
And he was
right.
like,
He gave him a budget.
he was like, you know,
that's some baller words right there.
Give me a budget.
But
right.
Listen, he was like, you know, this is this budget, and it's small, but he was like, this budget is bigger than what I ever had compared to Louisiana. That when I was in Dallas ISD, they used to give us a supply budget of $2,600. You know,
yeah,
a travel budget that couldn't even take us to and from UIL. Now, you know,
right.
when I was in Louisiana, it was no budget. You know, it was no budget. So that taught me that, you know, in order for me to supply, I had to hustle, had to do fundraisers, had to do, you know, all those things like that. Hey, we get a budget now. Don't get me wrong. We get a budget now, and but at each school, at each level, we've got, you know, I've been successful. You know, I was successful in Louisiana. I was successful at Carter. I was successful at Skyline. I was at Cedar Hill, and I never let my budget determine how much success I would have. You know, I made a superior rating when I was at Skyline. And with that being said, you know, Ricky, hey, we have a budget, but it comes with a high demand.
Right.
With a very, very high demand. It's almost like being a coach at LSU and being a coach at McNeese. You know, hey, you know, you got millions of dollars that you're making. Millions of dollars that you're making at LSU being a head football coach, but have one losing season. Fire him.
And it's over. Fire him quick. You'll be gone before.
Lose 2 games.
Hey, look, I'm gonna show y'all Cedar Hill budget a year.
This dude.
1 million.
Man,
not even close.
I just want a quarter of the just
not even close. You know.
Man, I know it's getting late, fellas, and you know, I know it's getting late. We started showing late. A lot of people got late on, but man, I just want to personally say, man, I know a lot of y'all see me around the band world. I spark up battles. I talk my shh. But if like William say, William, what year you and Derek got in Southern Band?
Man, don't be telling our business.
Man, I'm just like, hey, you told me I know your music, so I've been around you that long.
You have.
You know, y'all been knowing me. Y'all been knowing me that long, and you know, I have learned when what really made me switch over to like start really caring for the kids and band program when Tamika added me to a band. To, you know, it's different from a band head and then being a band head and assistant director that loves children. You know, in the inner city, when you on the outside come and just show up to games with band, it's different when you working on a staff day-to-day basis when kids don't have rides, kids taking trips, they don't have money, kids can't pay senior fees to get out. You know, it's different things like that assistant band directors and the band directors have to do behind scenes that the world don't know about. So my thing is, man, I applaud each and every one of you guys, especially ever since like the past couple of years, even with Mr. Herrero in New Orleans, what he had to come back from after, the schools in New Orleans had Katrina, they had to rebuild. He went from he took over a school 10 years ago, Chalupa, and turned it into a powerhouse name. And so, things that like was said on this here panel, the person might not say that they received it, but it was a lot of jewels and a lot of helpful information about branding your band, fundraising, how to sustain a program. At the end of the day, all y'all need to give yourself a pat on the back for coming on here, giving the information. Something like Javon said Tar was on here. It was a couple band directors that was on here that I didn't even expect to see. I thought it was gonna be the ones we had, Alex and Mark and the Latrine. They always on here, but man, it's like good, like the William Youngs, the Derek Walkers, the Reginald Washington, the people like that the world don't get to see. Like, if you don't go to Dallas or Houston, you won't see though y'all. Y'all the OGs of the band where y'all ain't trying to come to a battle band and prove yourself. You ain't got that to do. So I just want to say, man, y'all keep up the good work. The younger generation, even my man Deontay Kennedy, I messaged him in his sleep. He woke up, man. What is it? I said, get on, and he popped on. Man. I just
shout out Deontay.
Man,
he was asleep, man.
Hey, let me say this, and I hope y'all keep this going, because the thing I really hope this lead to is, if you got a lot of guys in here who've been teaching for a while, and it's got to be some encouragement for the younger guys coming up, because this is like the trend that I'm seeing now, and it's hard to watch. I see a lot of guys come in and they in 2-3 years and then they out. And like, I know in our area, like in our state in particular, like we almost in this thing now where it's like you feel like you got to get, you feel like you got only these certain pockets or areas that you can get into, and if you can't get into those areas, a lot of guys get discouraged, because like I think Will said, he in situations where like, he was having to teach band and choir and the fine arts and stuff like that, and I think it's just a lot of the younger guys who don't have those mentors. I think somebody said earlier, like the biggest thing you need is a mentor. I think Will said that on another live that I was looking at today. It's not a lot of mentorship. And I know I got spoiled. I got spoiled when I came in, because I was working with Trent, and then I was 15 minutes away from Carl. So I had people I could ask questions to. I had people. My first year, I done always said at Memorial was very hard. The band was not what it is now. The attitudes were not what it was now. It was an uphill climb, and I thought about leaving, and I really had that mentorship to keep me in. But I think the hurdle that a lot of the young guys gonna hit now is that they go into these situations and they get discouraged. They get discouraged really quickly. So I'm hoping, when I see Mr. Washington, man, Mr. Washington was teaching when I was in high school. I can still remember him bringing out his band to our first battle of the bands, and 2 of the kids that was in his band was in my wedding. I mean, that just go to show you how small the world is. And that was all the way back like in 2005. When I see, I see Mr. I see Mr. Williams, Dub at Cedar Hill and Derek, and how long they've been in. And unfortunately, it seemed like that's becoming very rare to see guys stay with it. And it would be one thing if it was a lot of guys just transition into the collegiate level, but that's not happening. It's so many guys that they teaching, and then all of a sudden they just not teaching no more, because they burning out, they getting in situations, we don't have this network like we should, where that encouragement coming from people who look like you, who know what you're dealing with. I hope we can keep that going.
I think what I see with that, what you're saying, I'm sorry about that. I think what I see a lot of people doing, Alex, they're coming out of college without certifications and going to charter schools. And then when it don't work, they don't want to go get their certification now, because they think the job is not for them. But a lot of people have to realize you could be a good musician, but you just not the teacher that can control the high school kids. You need to go to the middle school level and get that discipline about yourself with those kids. Build a middle school, then go to the high school. Don't jump off the porch. You know what I'm saying?
I got Mr. Watkins. I gotta push back a little bit on that because a lot of people look at the high school as the glorious side. But a lot of my career I spent at the middle school level, and I can tell you, and Frazier can attest to this. If you don't have a good middle school program, and anybody, it's not that anybody can do it. They had like Frazier, 3 band directors come in after me, and it's now Mr. Broussard 5 right after me, and could not replicate what I was doing until now they got kind of Mr. Broussard there, and he's doing a good job. Across the town they got Mr. Jackson. But just to say that a young person should step into I think the solution is what Frazier said. We need to, as people that's been in the game a long time. I know I look up to Mr. Washington. When I was in Dallas, it was Mr. Young. I know I have my band directors like Mr. Alvin Jackson. I lean on Frazier. A lot of people that's on this call right now. I've started a relationship pause with Deontay Kennedy, recently, trying to just pick his brain because like today I was able to learn about fundraising from Javon and Mr. Herrero. I was able to learn that sometimes it's just affirming. Every band director on this call has said the same basic things about fundraising, the same thing about community involvement, the same things about arranging and stuff like that. But they've said it in a different way, different perspectives, different situations. So mentorship is the most important thing, but you don't want to just throw somebody in the middle school because you think it's easier. I can tell you.
Right.
Hey, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna piggyback what Ricky said. I'm gonna answer something that he said, but before that, we joke about what we have or what we do at Cedar Hill with funds and stuff. But guys, I'll tell you, I'll be the first one to tell you. My first year at Cedar Hill was the worst year of my career. If it wasn't for my mentors, if it wasn't for me reaching out and Mr. Walker, if it wasn't for me reaching out to Mr. Walker and talking to him and just talking to my mentors, hey, I was about to get out the profession. I dealt with something that I've never dealt with. I've dealt with racism, but not in the sense that I dealt with it when I first got to Cedar Hill. Man, I was getting emails, backlash. I was getting, all kind of things.
I know about Cedar Hill, like the city.
Yeah, I was getting
the white folks' land.
Yeah, I was getting all kind of things that that I had never really experienced before. So it's good to have those mentors and have people to talk to, reach out to, because they keep you sane. They keep you sane. But out of 20 years now in the game, that year was the worst year of my teaching career. I almost gave it up. I almost gave the cookies up. I was like, hey man, I can't do this no more. But to kind of answer Watkins, hey man, I sit now again as fine arts director, and so I get a chance to go to state conventions with fine arts directors across the district. And Ricky, one way they are trying to stop us, which is not fair, is that they're trying to put where if you have they look down at people that don't have certification. If you're in an alternative certification program, well, hell, I came through an alternative certification for Texas. Mr. Walker came through alternative certification for Texas. Does that mean that you're not a good director? No. It just means that you probably didn't pass the test, or you didn't go through education, or whatever your result may be, or your reason may be. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you're a bad director, or I couldn't agree with the person that made the comment, because I was almost like, you thinking, I know why they made that comment in the meeting, in the fine arts meeting. And I was like, oh, hey, I know what you're trying to say and what you're trying to do. But before I could say something, other fine arts directors across the state had already chimed in and corrected that comment. But hey, you know, it's that to me that doesn't make or break a person. I think it's not.
Yeah.
It's not, you know, it's not, hey, if you come out of Southern, you're gonna be great. If you come out of Texas Southern, you're gonna be great. It's an individual thing, man.
But what I was saying about the certification, what Alice was saying about like a lot of cats who only want to stay at schools 1 or 2 years. They could bounce around a charter school system like that, be there 1 or 2 years and bounce around like that. Rather, if they certified, they'll have that job security. Because, you know, if you go to a high school in a district and they hire you and you don't get your certification in time, somebody that's certified could walk in and take the program from right up under your arms.
Yeah,
you know, so the charter school.
Hey, now I see what you're saying now.
So
and that's true. And that's true, Ricky. But it's other, and that's very true what you're saying. It's very true. And I know in Texas in particular, that's a big thing because they will fire if you ain't got that certification after a year. They letting you go. But what I'm talking about is, you know, Carl Collins, man, we did they did a seminar like this was like 2012, so it was like my second, third year teaching. And what he was talking about was like how our counterparts, they network. You know, is let me show you what I'm doing. You know, and I always say this, man, when you come from our HBCU culture, some of the same stuff and mentalities that make us great make us distant towards each other. That competitiveness, it drives us to be able to make something out of nothing sometimes, right? It drives us to be able to build something where nobody else will be able to come in and build it. But then sometimes that same mentality make you reject help when somebody else come and they got a suggestion how you can get better.
Right.
It make guys not want to fool with each other, and that's why I didn't try to make it a really forefront thing for me to just be open book for anybody who you. If you ask me for something, I'm gonna give it to you if I got it to give. You know, but it's a lot of, and you know, people talk about the Houston area a lot of time, but just in general, it's a lot of guys who won't network. And what happens is guys find themselves on the island. And that's hard, especially on younger guys, because they already just getting in the profession. And, you know, all of us went through this. You come in and you got a mindset or you got an idea of what it's going to be. And then you get there and you see what it really is. And if you don't have somebody who can kind of talk you through that, you know, it's a lot of guys, they get in and in 3 years, they out of the profession. You know, they don't have somebody they can lean on and talk to about how do I pass this PPE? How do I pass this content portion of my test? Did you, Mark Martin on here, we started at the same time. I was certified coming out of Louisiana when I graduated from Southern, but I didn't have Texas certification. Well, Mark was going through an alternate cert program. So Mark might not remember this. The next summer, I needed to pass certification. And I called Mark, like, hey, do you have some study materials for the TEXCS, that's the Texas certification? Because I didn't do anything with Texas certification. I did mine in Louisiana, you know, and he sent me, man, Mark will probably remember this, man. I went to his house where him and his brother was living at the time. They had the pit bull in the house. And that boy gave me a book and it was filled with notes. And I studied that and I was able to pass my test. But it's not a lot of networking going on, you know, or it's a lot of, you new to the game, I want, you know, it's big dogging going on. I got to show you what's what. I got to show you who I am, and that hurts us. And that's one of the reasons that we don't have a voice at certain tables too. It's not enough of us to get there and speak up because, you know, we don't cut for each other sometimes. And I think that's going to be something that we got to address with this next generation coming up, to be more forefront with trying to help them, you know, when they get in those ruts, when they starting their careers out.
So look, y'all, I think I'm like the newest person on the panel, right? Well, the youngest band director. I'm not in age. I'm 33, but I didn't go to school until I was 22. So everything y'all talking about, I can attest to personally. I went to Livingstone College, no name school. I come from Detroit. You know, I can sit here and run a mile a day to talk about how I got to where I am today, and I still don't even think that's nowhere. But I'm honored to be here. But what I can say that y'all missing out on, and what I've noticed, is that every single director has talked about the relationships that's established once in the profession going to Livingstone, what I realized talking to so many different people is that there is not a good system of developing band directors at any of our HBCUs that we hold so high of esteem at this level. They don't teach, excuse my language, but they don't teach us shit to be prepared for these classrooms. Not a damn thing, because if they did, then the relationships would be better in developing professional relationships. It would be better. They're not having those conversations. And it's our due diligence now to charge those guys that we went to school with, that we were friends with, that are now these band directors at these colleges. It's now time to say, hey, bro, man, we need to really sit down with your music majors. We need to really sit down with those who about to be a band director. We need to let them know that things are things they're going to face. Who isn't in a choir class? They need to be in a choir class because they never know if they got to teach. I have to teach choir. Luckily, I was a minister of music and I write gospel pieces, so I excelled at it well. But if I didn't, then that would have been one thing that would have been one deficit that I had a problem with. That would have been one issue that I didn't know how to relate. These are things that we're not understanding, not seeing for the future generation. It's beyond the certification. These guys get in here and they don't understand politics. They don't even know how to properly send the right emails. And you know how many things I had to go through where the grammar and being ready to send emails, speaking with proper vernacular. These are all things that we need to be helping these young band directors have, because that's what allows them to stay having those conversations.
Now, what you said is absolutely on point, and I agree with it 1,000,000,000%, because this is one of the biggest things that I noticed from the band directors that I was under in college to now. One of the things that I noticed was when you had a Dr. Greggs or Prof. Lee or Mr. Butler or all these older guys, these band directors. One thing they were super competitive when it was time, but one of the things that they were friends. They would go out to drink with each other. They would hang out with each other. They would call each other. They would talk with each other. They had a camaraderie that's not even prevalent now at all. So one of the things that I noticed when I got to college was that all of my professors were kind of old. So how in the world are you going to teach me about a classroom where you ain't been in one since 1950 something? So ain't nowhere in the world you can possibly know what's going on in the world now. So what I started to do was I started to reach out to my high school band director when I was in high school and ask him questions and then kind of go through that. So what I then started doing was I started going to other band directors that I would just kind of get to know and try to find out what it was like in the world now at that time when I was getting ready to graduate. So one of the things that I started to realize is now that I've been teaching for for a while, I have students now who are band directors now who went to college and graduated. So one of the things that I do to make sure that they do that is I invite them to come back to my band room, and they have to work on their skill set with these kids, because it's one thing for you to teach, or student teach or have to, do this lesson for this group of kids that you don't know, but bring your behind when you come back during the break and let's go through some of this music. So I'm gonna put you in front of the band program, and now you got to deal with my kids in real time, in real life. So then what I started to do is I started to talk to them about administration stuff. See, all you saw the whole time you was in band in high school was that you got your instrument, you got your uniform, you got on a bus, you went, you performed, you went, ate somewhere, you came back, and you put your stuff up and you left and you had fun. Now let me show you what the real deal is. Now you got to put in these bus requests. Now you got to sit down here and chase down all these restaurants and how to feed these kids and stuff like that. And they were like, oh, exactly. And so then
they need a whole class on how to deal with parents and booster clubs. That's
exactly. So I started,
how to not get tied up by booster club. With those finance, that's the fastest way to get fired.
My question
it's called
is that how could somebody
band etiquette?
But my question,
no, Ricky, you got to understand. You got guys, myself included, who get out of college and ain't never balanced a checkbook. Now you over organization where you gotta receive money, and you gotta be able to budget money. And if that stuff ain't equaling out, it's gonna be some problems.
It's two things you don't mess with: the money and them honeys. And those be lessons that it takes some band directors years to learn, and some guys be discouraged about them. That's just being real. That power, that having that control, knowing that those girls look at you in esteem. Man, it's just so many conversations that we don't have with these young guys that get in these positions. And I was just blessed to go to school at 22 and be older, but You know, so I got an old soul. My grandma puts to have prayer stored up for me for this. So, you know, I'm walking in a different calling, but I see so many of my brothers that's going to fail at this because they don't have that. And it's at all our schools. It's not just at 1 or 2, but they don't have it to where they're really getting what's needed to be prepared to teach our kids. And that's where they're going.
So the charge becomes, okay, we always talk about the problems and the issues and what's not happening. So the charge becomes that people that's on this call, people that's in the profession that's already doing what or already know these things, take one of the younger people under your wings and network with each other. I know I've been, like I said, I just reached out to Deontay Kennedy. I work with pretty much everybody on this this Zoom call. So we don't want to leave just saying, oh man, it's the problem. What are we going to do to solve it? Are we as band directors going to come together? I know right now, Mr. Young, Mr. Frazier, we were looking for Mr. Washington this earlier.
That's my fault, man. I was cleaning up my bag. That's my fault.
Mr. Walker and Mr. Williams. There was a couple of us, and we were on this committee because we were trying to do some things with UIL and TMEA and come together with that. And that's the kind of thing that we need. We need to come together as a group of directors, and also we need to go and mentor the younger people who may not be willing to listen because we were all young at the same time at one point. Who may not be able to listen, but one thing I do watch Deontay Kennedy do, he'll say something that we are all saying, but they'll listen to him because he packages the right way. So one of my sayings is you can't control how somebody receives your message a lot of time, but you can control how it's sent out. I think Brock had a question though.
No, you kind of really were talking about that because I was saying the same thing about about everybody, actually, I guess you could say making up time and folks wanting to receive what, someone that's older that's trying to give you. Not only that, but, you have to want to go succeed. Just like the great Mr. Washington said, like, he went out to go find, like he wasn't getting it where he was. So he used his mind, was like, well, I need to get better in something. So he went to go seek out on ways to better on what he did. And I know that's something that me and Mr. Martin, we did those same things because it's kind of hard. I mean, yes, our programs could have taught us better things and could have prepared us better for those things. But the reality of the matter is that the majority of the schools that we went to, music programs were not big money programs. So if you want to teach those things, then that's an extra class which has on extra money, which must be paid for. So, I don't want to necessarily say that they dropped the ball, even though, yes, they did. I think the ball was dropped because of certain situations.
He said, yes, they did.
But my bad, interrupt y'all. But not even that. It's hard to cultivate and building up someone because at the end of the day, we are grown, and at the end of the day, they are grown. So it's like, I don't think nobody that's on this panel as in band directors have an issue with helping anybody that's coming up in the game out. Now, I know that we are at the age to the point that if we feel like that you're worth my time doing that, not even saying that you are a bad individual, but yet, some people are a little rough around the edges that I might got so much going on that I need somebody who's going to listen, that's going to be able to cope with what I got going on. And some of us have more time to probably, be able to give to that. But I think it is a great thing. That's something that I'm actually doing out here in Dallas when I was doing the whole enrichment camp when Mark Martin had came down. Like I had 3 individuals, one who had just graduated from Jackson State, one was from Texas Southern, and another cat that was from PV, and both of them was I think they were like in a year and graduating. So I really brought them on to seeing like what we had to go through as in like with the bringing the kids in with the whole COVID thing, like making them understand about it's more than just the music and them doing other things to show them how to become a better band director. And I actually really did, lend out for more folks to do it. If you want to do it, only thing, as directors we can do is lend a hand. It's all on you. If you want to come, what they say, you leave a horse to water, but you can't make them drink.
You give them food some knowledge, but you can't make them think.
I'm looking for hopefully that if we can start like at least get a page or something, where everybody doing a page for something, so that we can branch the whole, get everybody together, seeing who's closer to whoever, and finding out, and then everybody doing Zoom meetings so that we can actually try to mold them to become better. For us to be able to willing to deal with, because they are young and we were young. And then also them to really step up to the plate and learn these things so that they can be productive band directors that's out here, so they can represent the culture, so that we won't have as much people who really don't like what we do and really in Texas trying to get rid of us doing that.
Let me say one thing to add to that, Brock. And like I think Deontay and Mark both just said, we got to be willing to extend ourselves to the kids, or I won't say the kids, but the younger guys that's coming up, right? But the other part of that is, this is why I go back where I say sometimes that same culture that helps some of us be great, it hurt us sometimes, that band culture, that band mentality. And I think, how many guys don't ask for help because they embarrassed? They embarrassed
All
to
of
ask for
them.
help, and I know that because I can always just speak on me. This about to be year 11 for me. I probably spent the first 5 years not asking questions because I didn't want people to think I didn't know something. But then, I had to break that in myself. The one thing I didn't have to deal with that I think got to be addressed, that we have to deal with now, is there are pockets of the black band culture or the black band community that's toxic. It is super toxic, and so you have guys who don't want to go ask for help because they looking online and they seeing these posts that people making where, they trying to drag somebody band, or, somewhere the line got crossed from being competitive to being disrespectful,
right?
And so I think that's got to be addressed too. That's got to be addressed, because if that's not addressed, you still gonna have a lot of guys where they need help. You could reach out to them, but they may not want to accept your help just because that culture that's kind of been implemented in them, is gonna make them think that you're gonna use that some kind of way to try and get back at them or something like that. And that's why I say I'm always open book. If you ask me for anything, if I got it, you got it. But it's hard. I mean, I didn't try to reach out to some younger guys and say like, hey, if you need some help with something, and it's like, man, perfect example. I think Mark know what I'm talking about. I don't know the young man's name, but this happened like last year. They had a big discussion on Facebook, and I can't remember what they were talking about, if it was mass bands or something else like that. But a younger guy still in college was arguing with a bunch of band directors been teaching, and I think Mark had put something to the effect of like, you wrong on this. And the kid said something to the effect, well, if I'm wrong, I'd rather just keep doing what and be wrong. I'd rather just keep doing what I'm doing and be wrong, because I can't go back on my word. That mentality, bro, that's foolishness.
But I'll tell you that particular person that you're talking about, I'm not going to mention his name because we're not trying to embarrass him. But that same person that you're talking to, I invited to my band hall, even though after that exchange was happening, and that person is very successful in his own right now. He doesn't know everything, and he still got that strong head, but at least now he's willing to listen. I had him, he wanted to come in and get arrangement out a couple weeks ago. I said, well, you really can't come through because of COVID. And he stayed on me. And I finally said, okay, well, come through. I got something for you to do. He get there, he think he about to pass the range. I say, here, there's a baritone player. He's a beginner. Work with him. And then then I helped him, learn how to teach him. Here, come here. I'm gonna show you about this spreadsheet, these documents that you need to. Man, Martin, when we gonna do some arrangement? I know you got that. That's why I'm not working on that. You got that settled. But that same, even though we had that friction, right? I still tried to make the effort. And Mr. Kennedy actually knows who I'm talking about too. But he kind of taught me a lot of ways and to keep doing this, because this guy's a repeat offender a lot of times. But just we're the smarter ones, we're the older ones, we're the wiser ones. So sometimes we kind of gotta bite the bullet a little bit in order to help each other.
And patience is definitely needed, but I'm saying at some point we gotta address the stuff that got us here. Right. And y'all know, just like I know, if you go look in real HBCU or one of these other band groups or something like that, it's constant disrespect. It's to the point where you got young guys, and they so immersed in social media that they think that's really how band directors interact with each other.
Right. But
like they calling them this and they calling them that.
But the college bands are doing it. The college bands are doing it.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yes, and that's that culture, where they see that and they take that as how you supposed to deal with colleagues. That they take that as how you are one man island, you a one man army, and it's you against everybody. And the thing is, now they got to come into a real workforce. They got real problems where you're gonna have, real issues if you completely alone. That at some point we got to address that.
They can't assume,
You're right, Mr. Young.
Social media is just for show. It's just to sell tickets. It's just to get a lot of people to those battles and so they can't assume. I'm in that situation where I make sure. I used to think that, hey, if I call XYZ, they're not going to help me. If I call this director or whatever else, until I actually start sending out those emails, until I start actually making those calls, and to find out, some of these big name directors, conductors, they actually want to help because someone helped them along the way. So I was like, oh, okay. And every time I've called someone,
oh my God.
Every time I call someone and ask them and it was like, hey, will you help me? They've always helped me. And I'm the same way. But like you said, a lot of times people don't call you or they won't call you. They won't ask for help because, they think, well, he's made it. So I don't want to embarrass myself. Hey, there's not a dumb question. I said it earlier on another call. William Johnson asked so many questions. He asked, we had a clinician that came in, worked our middle school for one full night, one full day, had a concert. William Johnson was writing down notes, boom, doing everything. On a man break, he was asking questions. We took the man out to dinner. We taking him out to dinner. Will is asking so many questions. And we were all like, hey, let him ask his questions. And the guy he was asking the questions to didn't mind. He was eating his dinner. He was answering the questions. And at the same time, we was like, hey, man, ask your questions. And then, after the fact, we were like, we do that stuff every day. But for him to ask those questions, he started implementing those things because it came out a totally different way than what he probably saw us do it or probably what we've told him. So, you can't be embarrassed to ask questions. You can't be embarrassed to call someone or email someone. We take our students to the Baylor concerts, to the SMU concerts, to the LSU concerts when they came down. And when I went to those schools and started observing those schools, I was like, they learning that first year college. They learning that, like Deontay said, hey man, we didn't learn some of those things in college. We didn't learn some of the things that they're being exposed to. I don't want to say learn. We wasn't exposed to those things that they are exposed to. And so, not saying that it was a bad thing, and I'm not gonna say it was a good thing, but if I wasn't a person that didn't seek out help or seek out assistance from someone from one of those schools or ask questions, then I'll be in that same boat that I was in. You know, I wouldn't have learned a lot. And this is still a lot of things that I'm just a sponge of learning. You know, a student of still learning and never turning. I still ask questions. I still go out, to young band directors that are doing, so I say this all the time. You can learn what to do from somebody and you can learn what not to do from somebody. Like I said, I go in young band directors, band rooms. I say, oh man, I never thought about that. And sometimes I go in some people's band room and I'll be like, man, I used to do that, but I don't do it anymore. Let me start doing that again because it's going to help what I need. It is going to help reinforce what I'm doing. So you got to take time for yourself. Don't be afraid to take off one day and go out and visit another school. And again, don't be afraid to ask questions. And then don't hold all that knowledge in. Be willing to give it back. A lot of people don't think, someone called me and say, hey, Mr. Young, my class meet 8:00 in the morning. Well, man, that's the same time my class meet. I can't do it today, but let me see if I can do it next week, or let me see if I can do it. I'm gonna make certain that I go to that person's class if they ask for help. The problem is, will they receive that help? What we do at Cedar Hill will work at any school in America. It is not the kids. It is not because we have certain kids. It's not because we have certain instruments. It's not because we have a budget. It's not because of those things. It's because we reinforce. It's because we work on those fundamentals. And people get that sometimes, well, the only reason, hey, when I was young, I used to say it too. Well, the only reason they're successful is because what they have. No, that's not true. That is not true. So, if we go in, if I go in your band room, I'm gonna say, hey man, you're trying to get this result, but it's not working because you're doing this. You need to do less of this, more of that, and it's gonna help your program. Now, hey, it's up to you if you do it or not. But that's my 2 cents.
Well, yeah, fellas, well, y'all know it's getting kind of late and everybody got families, got to get up for virtual church or in the church in the morning. Man, on behalf of me, myself, the co-host of Band Life Production, we want to say thank y'all for coming on. It's been very informational. And y'all make sure y'all share this this link with other band directors, so they can see what was the gems that were dropping up, man. Fellas,
make sure y'all share this, man. I appreciate
y'all covered almost every aspect of the band world to be successful that these young and upcoming band directors need to meet and need to see and hear. Like, and if you watching this and you're a young band director and you in the Houston area, go see Mr. Reginald. Send him an email. Tell him you need a mentor. If you're in Dallas, go see Mr. William. Go see Beaumont. If you want to be in a band director, go see Mr. Alice. Go see Mr. Mark. It's enough resources to where everybody could be successful. No matter if you 32, 24, 48, 64, it can be done. And I appreciate y'all dropping the knowledge and dropping the gems. And Mr. Williams, Mr. Washington, it's good seeing you guys. Good seeing y'all. I bet y'all retire before in 10 years.
I appreciate y'all. Oh, just to let y'all know, man, I will be doing a part 2 to this panel probably next Saturday. So if you all want to join, just let me know on Facebook. I'll have it started probably around 7 o'clock to give us more time to talk. So if y'all want to join there, just let me know.
Right. You just
Can I get numbers? If y'all don't mind, can I get numbers? Can I get numbers? I'll send my number in the group and just send text first and last name. I don't really know any of y'all, but anybody that Mark done kind of had me introduced to, it's been good peoples, man. And then Terrence Brock, man, me and him, he actually came to talk to me face to face. So I just don't think God make mistakes.
You know, I ain't gonna call you every day, but I do listen. I do pay attention. I do have a platform, and I will say what I do learn from you guys. And I don't take no credit. I'm big on giving people their credit. So, you know, I like to have your number, man. I like to get to know y'all because I want to get better. I'm an older guy, so I'm willing to learn, but I'm very new to this band culture and to being a Black educator in today. So, you know, if we can exchange numbers or such, I greatly appreciate that.
And on something else, William, what if you don't mind, you know how you say you do your paperwork, like your letter that you send out for the fundraising sponsorships. If you don't mind, can you put a sample package together and kind of like just if you see some of the new directors asking the question, you can email it out virtually. I'll make a post it out, band directors that need fundraising ideas, I put in the band group. Whoever sent them, I just do a mass email and send it out, you know, because it's certain things that you then walk through and certain things Mr. Reginald, everybody gonna walk through in different areas of the game that everybody can put it together in one big bowl and make the perfect pie to where everybody get the proper resource that they need. You never know. You can go to those shops and ask those people to donate a box of reeds, because there are a lot of, I can say there's a lot of Caucasian shops that will donate to the Black community because they know it's a lack of funding on the school system, you know. So, man, I appreciate y'all, man, from the bottom of my heart. I'm probably one of the most judgmental band heads you're going to meet. I'm going to talk my trash, but I love the kids more than I love the adults.
You've been doing that since the 90s.
And Mark Ward, pull a barbecue pit out. And hey, hold on, y'all.
Mark, man, we coming out there. Have the food ready.
Y'all ain't about that life, man.
and oh, fellas, I got a question for the people in Houston. Do y'all know any pharmacists working at like hospitals or anything like that?
What you trying to get some Percocets?
Trying to get put on.
That man said you trying to get some Percocets.
Man, hold on, man. Hold on.
I think I might need to leave.
A hospital pharmacy.
That man trash right there.
I'm mad that y'all all knew.
Man, hold on. Let me show y'all something, man.
Why you say hospital pharmacies though? Why hospital pharmacies?
The plug not on here, man. This band.
Man, no, I'm actually looking for a job in pharmacy. Let me show y'all something. Let my license pull up. Man, I'm certified in the state of Texas, for real. Like I'm dead serious.
Well, I'll tell you this.
About certification earlier, he got all kind of certifications.
I'm telling you, but look here. I know this for a fact. CVS, you go to any one of them. Their pharmacies are so slow. I promise you get a job there like that.
Do y'all see that? Do y'all see that? Texas State Board of Pharmacy. What does that say? Rick O'Neal Watkins, active.
Ricky, man, let the man go to sleep.
It could look like anything on the internet. They could be fraud.
Hey, look, listen.
That could be
y'all
fraud.
listen.
Oh no, I'm just messing with you, Rick. I'm just messing.
That's my national life. Look,
pull up the sheet of paper right now. This is a check for $1 million right here. Right here, right on. No, I'm just messing with you though, man. I'm just messing with you.
Shit, that boy, ain't nothing fake about that.
Well, thank y'all, fellas, man. I do have both virtual and in-person church opportunities, and I'm gonna have to get relaxed tonight before I go on here and go in there in the morning. So, see y'all.
I gotta connect. I gotta connect with Nike
I really
too.
enjoyed this. Nice seeing you guys. Man.
If anybody is looking for any Nike, Under Armour, I can get you 40% off. Sent straight to you. That's pretty much like all Nike tracksuits, anything you want. I pay like $93 for them. $87 if I don't. No bullshit. Like
Real
I can
talk?
hook you up with, huh?
Real talk?
Real talk. Yeah, I'm so serious. Like I full gear. Like look at my band wear Jordan, they wear Nike, and they pay like $83 for these tracksuits, y'all, with their name on them, logos. We like last year we had the mama
hitting
shirt.
you
When I
up
went to
ASAP.
Southern, I had the mama shirts on with the logo at the top. You know, straight from the source. no backhand. No, I don't want nothing, none of that. I introduce you to him. As much as I would have to walk you through is how to order it from the site to see it. And then once you do that, he sends you your own quote. He needs invoices. It's all legit. That's just, it's something that I got blessed with from Detroit, and I done kept good business with the white dude since then. And he let me keep the same discount that I had when I was under the school that had the sponsorship with Nike.
Okay,
And
Mr. Kennedy,
he looks out for anybody I put on.
Mr. Kennedy, what's your number? Forget the check. Just say
313. Oh, okay, my bad. I was listening to y'all.
That's okay. Go ahead. 313. I got it. 313.
671-6318.
Hey man, you know this going on YouTube, right? So everybody in their mouth will be calling you.
Right, everybody look, Mark, let me tell you something better. I'll always get my number out like Mike Jones, bro. Like, I'm a band director of the people. I got out here from doing this, man. So I try not to, I got my own life, but I get my number out, man. That's how people send me messages. And I've done this before, like give out this information for tracksuits. I've done it so many times. And some people think I be joking about it, and some people find out I'm serious, and they be walking around in nice stuff. So it's like it ain't I don't want nothing for it. I just know it was a system that works, and the guy's doing it real. I can tell y'all the truth, like the guy doing it because it's helping him. He makes more money off of it. For me, it's helping my people. What would they want to wear? Like, it's a win-win for everybody. Like, I don't know why not tell people. So that's like it's a win-win. So.
Well, fellas, man, I appreciate it, man. This was a great panel. Like I said, next Saturday I will be having a part 2. So, you know, if y'all want to join the part 2, just let me know. And y'all stay safe out here, man. Make sure y'all family stay safe. And I'll be catching up with y'all guys later.
All right.
All right, man.
All right, man. Later. Appreciate it,
love
fellas. Be safe out there, everybody.
Enjoy it all, y'all.
All right, peace.
Oh, yeah, same here.